for you. Come round. Can I just borrow someone then? He's not doing anything. Might actually, if someone's found a kicking team. Thank you.
Testing, testing.
Hello and welcome to the Scunthorpe Alphas first game of the season here in the Division 1 North. Alphas versus the Yorkshire Rams. I'm joined by Mike Syson, former Alphas quarterback.
Hello, excited to be in the booth. It's my first time commentating, so bear with me. But we've got a lot of things to chat through today. Looks as though the Rams are going to be receiving the first kickoff. We're not sure who won the coin toss, but obviously Rams to get the ball first, it looks like, with Alphas kicking off.
Yeah, Dylan Pole, new Alphas DB, formerly of the Nottingham Caesars, the kicker for the Alphas today. An Alphas team which they worked a lot on special teams. I've seen not all their training, but a lot of their training this year. It seems like there's been a more of a focus on the special teams than before, and they feel as if they can utilise that against the Yorkshire Rams team. They kick off now. As they go short,
that's an onside kick to start the game. We've seen a space. Who's recovered that?
Looks to be gone out of bounds. A bold shout on the kickoff. Very close.
Start the game. Looks as though it's going to be Rams offense coming out. So Rams look to have recovered that, or it's gone out of bounds after touching a Rams player, likely.
Yeah, not what you'd want from from your onside kick, but it's a
definitely
bold choice.
Statement. It's a statement. It's a way to start the game. Show that you're confident in your offense and confident in your defense, that you're risking that first possession, or trying to get that first possession back, I should say.
Yeah, obviously, it's Warwick Grosvenor's first game as Scunthorpe Alphas head coach, taking control of the defence with a new defensive playbook, I believe, today.
So it looks as though we've got two high safeties here from Scunthorpe.
Yeah, I formation. Got two tight ends in the package. Short run up the middle.
Heavy set to start the game.
Shoved quickly by the Alphas. I believe they have an Alphas down injured on the field. This will be Alex Irving in some discomfort. We will take a quick break whilst that injury is being sorted out on the field. It looks like the ambulance people are coming on now. Hopefully he's all right.
Boys first. Yeah. So it looks as though that was Cam Belk, defensive lineman. He's just making his way off the pitch now.
Yeah, it is.
With some assistance from his fellow D lineman.
Yeah, we wish him the best. It did not look like a nice one. I mean, looked like a lower leg injury, which
definitely looks to be a knee or an ankle, you'd assume, down there in those trenches. Looks as though it's going to be a very physical game, obviously starting off the way it has. Obviously, you don't like to see anyone get injured, particularly first play of the season for the Alphas. But it looks as though there's going to be a lot of run heavy coming from the Rams with two tight ends, it looked like, in that formation, only with one running back in the backfield. So we'll see what they come out with, see what formations they can put together. And it looks as though we're back on the pitch now.
Looks more of a spread out formation from the Rams there. 3 receivers in.
Yeah, so we've got 2 receivers top side. It looks as though we've got a tight end to the bottom and a wide receiver. Immersion there. To be split inside zone.
Similar result.
Yep, 2 to 3 yards. Good gang tackle there from the Alphas coming down. They ran that very well last year, the Rams did. Both inside zone and split zone with a tight end or a fullback-esque immersion to take take one of the ends out. It takes one of the blocking responsibilities or assignments away from your O-line. They don't have to worry about picking up that extra person because you've got that tight end coming across to kick out that end. So it takes a bit of the weight off your offensive lineman with one less person to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, we saw from the Alphas versus Rams games last year that there was very hotly contested, both teams picking up a single win en route to both having a playoff berth. Another run up the middle. For a first down and more. He's still going. And taken out around the 5. I believe Gaz Hughes on the tackle. A fantastic run.
Huge run, huge gap up the middle there. Looks as though someone did get a hand on him early at that second level. Not sure who that linebacker was, but maybe with an opportunity to bring him down there. Unfortunately, that missed tackle leads to
flag on the play.
A large gain. We'll see what that flag is.
Yeah, it looked as if Captain Gaz Hughes was in conversation with the referee about what that may be. Could be a devastating blow for the Rams here on a great run, which got around 40 yards downfield, right into the red zone, but may be called back.
It's first down Rams. Not sure what the call was there, but it is a first down. I'm not sure where the ball will be spotted. So it looks as though it's something after the play, potentially. They're marching back from the end of that previous play. Yes, that will be an automatic first down for the Rams. Retaining possession, moving downfield. Obviously, they don't get the full bulk of what they potentially could have had there, but they'll take a first down every day.
Yeah, definitely damage limitation from the Alphas.
That sniffer in motion again. Another inside handoff. Can we get a number on that running back? Is that 27 in there?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen, even after 4 plays, a clear game plan from the Yorkshire Rams. They bring that motion man across the middle, an extra blocker, and just that inside run. It's working at a rate of around, excluding the brought back flag, around 5 to 6 yards per carry, which, I mean, it's the first time every single time, so it's something they will continue with, I'm sure.
Rams historically always been a very physical team, so you'd expect them to be run first. It's the way they've been for the last 5 or 6 years at least. Taylor Umland at quarterback. Looks like a quick screen. No, it's a hitch.
Dropped.
Hits Dan Haywood straight in the hands. I know Dan, he's not going to be happy with the drop there. He would have taken that first down, but unfortunately bounces off the hands. Alphas couldn't capitalise off that loose ball floating around in the air. You don't like to see that as a receiver or a quarterback, a drop, but also the ball being bounced up is never a good sign for an offense.
Yeah, I mean, for the first pass of the game, obviously it's not ideal. You want to get your QB receiver connection going straight away, especially from the quarterback point of view. A drop on the first passing play is never a sign of good things to come.
3rd and 2. Taylor trying to hurry up the offense. We've got that motion again from the sniffer. Inside handoff looks to be inside zone again.
That's it to the outside. Breaking tackles.
Good pursuit there from 99. Is that Jack Marshall? Looks as though he came across that entire formation to chase that one down. Good pursuit angle, but unfortunately the Rams do come away with a first down there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to be a different running back. So even though the personnel changes, the game plan doesn't. Especially with I believe it's 91 hovering across the just behind the line of scrimmage, indicating mainly what direction the run is. But despite this seeming indicator, the Alphas unable to really stop it, to be honest.
Another change of running back here.
Yeah, trip to the right-hand side.
Screen. Jailbreak coming down
24
quick.
Drops again.
Ooh. Drop. QB Taylor looking a little bit frustrated with that one. It was there. The screen looked to be on, although the defensive backs did come crashing down pretty hard on that, so they may have to be aware that there might be a fake on that later on if they continue to run that screen. But for now, the Alphas will take that and live to fight another day on 2nd and 10. We like that. Trips again to this near side. A new running back again. It almost seems as though it's every play at this point.
Coach Wilson at the bottom of the screen indicating something wants to change for the defense. It's a good run in the middle.
Another
down.
inside run. Looks to be more of a power back that they've got in there at the moment. But as you said, Jay, it doesn't really matter what running back they've got in at the minute. They're just running their scheme, running their offense, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same idea, that inside run, smash mouth football, especially towards the end zone, is been very effective.
Elliot Jackson now in at running back. Been around the Rams for a very long time. Experienced rugby player and running back. Very agile, deceptive.
Off coverage from the Alphas.
And they come right back to the well. There are some hands on that bowler. Ooh, there's someone in there ripping. But it looks as though they are going to give that a first down again. Looks as though what the Rams are trying to do is come out in those spread formations, try and get a bit of a lighter box from the Alphas. So the Alphas have to spread out that defense to cover those receiving options, and that takes away more of those tacklers in the box to stop that run game. Another change of running back. Looks as though we've got number 9 coming in now. Twins to the bottom, tight end up top. Pass play, dropping back, drops deep, hits Dan Hillwood over the middle.
Touchdown.
Untouched into the end zone. Found that space really nicely in there. Wasn't sure whether that was a hitch or an out, but he seemed to be in an acre of space there.
Yeah, I mean, tight end on the left side of the line, almost faking the block. You think another heavy run set inside zone, but it was nice positioning, almost like what you see from a lot of NFL tight ends, just finding the space, settling down, find a hole in the Alphas defense, and was just able to turn untouched into the end zone. A very nice starting drive from the Rams there.
Yeah, can't really complain with it. Obviously a penalty in there to help them on that long run. But yeah, they clearly had a game plan coming into this game with a run-first attitude, and it looks as though the plan was to do that, to set up the pass, and it did just that. So we'll see how the Alphas come out and retaliate now. So obviously we'll see kick return first. You'd not expect to see another onside kick, but never say never. This is the Lewis Truman working his way back there for the kick return.
Looks to be Lewis Truman and Jamal.
Likely, I reckon Jamal will be up just in front.
Yeah, so Nathaniel Wise.
Nat Wise and Lewis Truman back there.
Nat Wise, former Yorkshire Ram player, I believe.
Yes, so last year he was with the Alphas, but year before that, I believe he was a running back for the Rams, and obviously has been a vital part of the Alphas' success the last couple of years.
Yeah, I believe he's playing more receiver this year. Obviously a running back receiver hybrid, but due to the loss of key players like Ryan Wakeland to the semi-pro in Poland, Nathaniel Wise has had to step up along with players like Harry Patterson.
Kick does come deep, looks to be going to Nat Wise. Fields that. Oh, we do see the reverse. Coming right, Lewis Truman. Breaks the tackle, breaks another.
Looks to be maybe a high
hands in there, I'll be honest, but looks to make it back to around the 25-yard line on that right-hand side. So we'll see. I'll first look at the Alphas offense, making their way on now. Very experienced offense. A few extra additional pieces in there, but Lewis Culver starting at quarterback. We've got I guess you'd call him an icon at this point. Martin Braley will be starting at centre, as he always
real
does.
Staple of the team.
Aidan Light at left tackle. Debut. Yeah, he's a new signing. He's been around the game for a very, very long time. Played at Tamworth Phoenix for years and has just come back from surgery. So excited to see him in an Alphas uniform this year.
Yeah, I mean, with the been a lot of change at the Alphas in the last year, but one piece of key continuity is the Nick Bagnall offense. I'm sure it's not majorly unchanged. Lewis Culver fits into that system fairly well. Daniel Wise in motion.
That's
handoff to Jack Patterson.
On an inside handoff to start. Nat Wise in motion. So it looks as though the Alphas are still coming out with that tight end like they did last year. I believe that's Thomas Noon that we've still got out there. very big part in both the run and the pass game, Thomas News. I'm excited to see what he can do. I know he shouted at me a lot last year for not throwing him the ball enough. So I'm sure he's played his case and will get a lot more touches this year. Apologies for last year, Nooney. Okay, 2nd and 9 it looks like we've got now. So tight end to the near side. Looks to be pin and pull. Nice. Good aggressive running there. Does get caught up a touch behind his blockers there.
Yeah, I believe that was Andy Bagnall, who I don't know how he's still playing, and he's playing another position.
He does it all.
He's done literally everything apart from defence, and he probably has done that.
I'm sure he's probably played a few snaps along that D-line or a linebacker somewhere in his career, but known for being a quarterback. I've seen him take snaps at fullback. He's played some slot.
Started the playoff game as receiver.
Yeah, it's... Andy Bagnall's one of those guys you'd love to have on your team. He'll fill whatever gaps you need him to, and he will not complain the entire time while he's doing it.
Also key to note, Steve Sowerby on the offensive line as well. Moving over from defensive line last year. Another run up the middle. Great running from Nathaniel Wise.
He's got that first down as well. So interesting there. We see the Alphas come out with a split back formation, which haven't seen too much of from the Alphas, but with the depth that the Alphas have at running back this year, it's hard to not put all those guys out on the field all the time. So I don't blame Nick Bagnall's choices there in terms of getting your best players on the field, and if that's all running backs, put them all out there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw from the Alphas preseason game against the Cambridge Cats that the run game was working. I believe Alpha's 4 running backs averaged around 7 yards a carry during that game, which is quite incredible to you're not going to call it a win because it's pre-season, but a very strong performance against a Premiership opponent.
Motion in the backfield here. Jamal taking that ball, not much room to work. He bounces it back.
It's great running from Jamal.
He's found a gap there. He's done it incredibly well to get 7 yards there.
Yeah, very strong 7.
So it was supposed to be an intended run to the left with the lead blocker. Ended up getting caught up. Joe Bradley seemed to be the guy holding up in front of him. Although Joe wasn't getting much sort of downfield action with that, he did manage to hold up the guy in front of him, which allowed Jamal to bounce back. So I know Joe would be happy with that play, but it definitely could have been a lot worse, and he prevented that from blowing up.
Yeah, Joe Bradley obviously stepping up into a coaching position with the underline teams this year. So a real good guy.
Yeah, it's an interesting left-hand side of that offensive line now that you say that, actually. So we've got Joe Bradley and Aidan Light both on that left-hand side of the line, who I coached with both of them at the Hull University Sharks. So they've got a lot of experience in terms of working together. I don't think they've played together until this year. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
There must be a real connection between the two. The Adam Woodall, ex-receiver to the left-hand side with Lewis Truman inside in the slot.
Just the one running back this time. Looks to be a screen.
Stuffed well. Very strong defensive play there from the Yorkshire Rams.
The linebackers just flew incredibly well to that. Adam Woodall was making his way in from the outside receiver position, but there's no way he could get there and get in front of 2 of those bodies that had just flown across. It looks as though there was a play action attached to that, so the quarterback acting as though he can potentially hand the ball off to the running back to try and keep those linebackers in place in the middle of the field, but they did not buy it that time, so that leaves us on around 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4.
Yeah, it looks to be around 4 yards for the first. Be a key first down for the Alphas, taking them over midfield. Obviously, not quite in need of a touchdown, but it would certainly help to level the game up and answer a Rams touchdown.
Apologies for that. A motorbiker just pulled up outside the booth.
Let us know about it.
Looks to be a bit of a delay here, but the medical staff are making their way across the pitch, so I don't know whether they've been summoned across to deal with some issues on the Rams sideline. So that's why there's a touch of delay there, but the ref signals that we're game on. So Adam Woodall and Lewis Truman making their way down to the near side. Number 7, I believe, is that?
I believe that's J.J. Smith. Yeah.
Yes,
young
J.
former Doncaster Mustangs player. They're starting running back this year. Clearly playing some receiver.
Jamal with the handoff, off tackle to the right. Can he fight? Unfortunately, gets held up there. Looks as though he's around a yard short of that one.
Yeah, it gives Nick Bagnall the choice whether they want to go bold, as they did with the onside kick. Did they go on
4-1? We are seeing the quarterback come off the field with some offensive lineman. Looks as though it's going to be the punt unit coming out. So yeah, a lot of new faces for the Alphas on both sides of the ball. We mentioned Jay Smith, a new receiver. Looks as though he's playing for the Alphas this year. Came from the Doncaster Mustangs. I was speaking to Alphas defensive coordinator Chip Wilson before the game, and he was telling me some interesting stats that we had from Jay Smith in his last year, which was 6.2 yards per carry on 99 attempts for the Mustangs. So pretty good stat line. You can never complain at those sort of yards per carry. And looks as though that's going to be untouched out of bounds. It's probably a good call when you've got Tyler Broad back there returning for the Rams. Very, very dangerous player on both sides of the field. Just an athlete. He'll do whatever you ask him to.
Yeah, he was a key standout from the games in the past 2 years that the Alphas and Rams have played. See, like you said, both sides of the ball. A real talent. Being at the Rams team for a long time, I've gathered. Yeah,
he's been there for a very long time. He's had a stint in Europe as well. I'm not sure where he went. Apologies, Tyler, if you end up hearing this one back. So I'm not sure where he went and played, but he's come back and has played for the Rams since.
Yeah, one that I'm sure they'll look to a lot this season with some real playoff hopes.
So we've got 27 in at running back there, which I believe is Jono Bell Davis. He is a rather large gentleman to be playing running back, and he is one to bring down, so not surprised to see him take that ball. Good tackle. Good tackle there from the secondary. Does make his way through the defensive line, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Alphas try and make some changes to stop your second level defenders trying to make those tackles and maybe keep them to a yard or two per play. But we'll see how the Alphas adjust. But Jono came out with one of the hardest photos I've ever seen in britball of someone of his size jumping over someone against Chester last week.
Oh, wow.
That hurdle was incredible. I've not seen the clip, but I've seen the photo, and he's an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, he was moving at a man not of his size. And a very strong defensive play there.
Great stop. Like I say, There will be some adjustments to stop that inside run. Very, very competent coaching staff here at the Alphas. So they will adjust on the fly and they will make changes to keep the Alphas in this game and come away with a win.
Yeah, I believe that was Luke Truman there on the tackle, moving from safety to a linebacker this year.
Yeah, speaking to Alphas head coach Warwick before the game, he did say that he'd made that change and moved down to linebacker, and he is hitting hard from that position. So he's excited to see how he moves there. The D-line itself is pretty unchanged from last year, other than losing Steve Sowerby just to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, there was Danny as well, obviously, a key standout for the uni champions, the UWE Bullets. And for a
outside handoff here. Looks as though there was some contain there. Let's keep it. Good stop. Looks as though there was hands again. So the Alphas are hungry for that ball. There's hands in on that ball. As soon as that first guy's wrapped up, Alphas are looking to force a turnover.
Yeah, I mean, it would be foolish to assume that the Alphas defensive coaching staff had left the defense unchanged after a dominant first drive by the Rams, and it seems like those changes have worked. As Jack Patterson
looks as though he's back there as a lead blocker for another new signing from the Alphas, which I believe is Elliot.
Yeah.
Elliot Knight, who I believe has come from the RAF team.
So clearly a friend of Lewis Truman. I've heard that he's the fastest person in the world.
I've heard similar results, so let's hope we get to see the ball in his hands here.
Yeah, looks like he will be the key returner.
The punt is away, looks short, looks as though we're not going to get a return this time, unfortunately, but there will be possession for the Alphas at around the 35-yard line, which you can't complain about.
Yeah, I know Elliot Knight will be playing wide receiver, obviously.
Yeah, so actually in his first game for the RAF, Warwick was telling me that he caught a touchdown for his first pass.
Oh, wow.
His first reception as a wide receiver in the entire game of American football, or his entire career of American football, went for a touchdown. So
yeah, I mean, that clearly says a lot.
Sounds as though he's the sort of guy that you'd just be excited to get the ball in his hands, and he probably will make some people miss. So I can't wait to see that in this game.
Yeah, made a big impact in the Alphas' recent training camp at the University of Derby, which has given him the nickname as the fastest man ever. If Usain Bolt's watching, I'm sure he'll try and refute that. But Elliot Knight, it'll be interesting to see if he gets on the field fairly soon.
Split running backs again. Lewis Truman, Adam Woodall down at the near side. Jack Patterson. It looks like Nat Wise in the backfield.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Nat
Run
Wise
off
lead
the
blocker.
right-hand side, lead blocking from Nat. Jack Patterson ends up cutting that one up for around 3 to 4 yards, I think, from this angle we are.
Yeah, it seems like a solid gain on first down. I'll try and follow that up.
Coaches will always say 4 yards per play is a good way to play football, and if you're a running back, that's your milestone. If you can get 4 yards per play and have that on your stats at the end of the year, it's been a successful year. It means every time you touch that ball, if you do that 3 times in a row, you're getting a first down, your team's keeping possession, and you're marching down the field.
Yeah, we've seen Jack Patterson, over the years, a real key player for the Alphas, who can make things happen, to say the least.
Jet sweep to Nat Wise here. He's got space, gotta go.
He takes up field.
That
for
was a
big
fantastic
gain.
cut. The blocking looked perfect there. He could just meander around that corner there. That was lovely stuff. You know, it's been a successful play when you see Martin Braley on the floor. That means he's got out there, he's moved.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you'll see a lot.
And you see Martin Braley in space, you run the other way.
Yeah, he's a very just large human. But I do know as well that he's maybe as athletic as ever this season after quite a big off season, losing a lot of weight, but I mean still maintaining his size.
Yeah, his strength still seems to be there. His stature will always be there. He has lost the weight, but he's posting in the group chats strength after strength, personal bests. He will be performing as he always does. Nat Wise again with another successful run up the middle. Looks as though for the Alphas, having Nat run behind Jack Pad is actually being more successful than vice versa. Be interesting to see if that continues or they try and lean on that a little bit more. And also whether the Rams actually key in on that and maybe assume that that's the way they're going to run based on it. There's a lot of assumptions to be made if that success continues.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Pad is a very strong man himself. He's a good blocker out in space, a violent blocker as well. Is not afraid to leave his helmet
in motion
in someone else's head.
Culver drops back to pass.
Ball over the top.
Thomas Noon.
Looked to be catchable.
I think that was just out of reach. I think a camera angle made that look a slight bit closer than it was, but it looks as though we had the smash concept to the right-hand side for the quarterback there. So 5-yard hitch somewhere around there on the outside with Thomas Noon coming out from the tight end spot to run a corner. The space was there. So it looks as though the Alphas are running a similar game plan to what the Rams did on that first drive of establishing that run to maybe try and break one open with the pass.
Yeah, I mean, smash is the key fundamental play for any offense. See that causing the read for the quarterback, the high and low. It'd be disappointing to miss on that first big throw for Lewis Culver.
Oh, immediately in the backfield there for a tackle for loss. Looks to be number 3 there for the Rams. Let's see if we can get a name for you.
Yeah, it was J.J. Smith on the run.
That's Kelvin Newsome in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, playing last year at the Division 2 level, obviously it'll be a big step up for Smith this year, playing against the top end. We're playing for and against the top end of the Division 1 North. Yeah, that was a welcome to Division 1. I believe it's a timeout.
It is 4th down. I didn't think it was 4th down, but it seems to be. So there was a timeout called. Not sure whether we're expecting to see the offense or the special teams unit come back out after this timeout. The fact there is a timeout leads me to believe it's more likely to be an offense. Teams don't tend to call timeouts before special teams plays, but we saw an onside kick to start the game. So.
Yeah.
So we're coming out now after the timeout. Alpha's offense jogging the way back onto the pitch. So expecting an offensive play here on 4th and around 6 yards, it looks like. Not wanting to attempt a field goal from here, but also not looking to punt. We'll see if it's just another aggressive play from the Alphas here, trying to set the tone.
Yeah, I'd just like to note that Alpha's legend Jamie Sill comments on Aiden Light's helmet being black. Obviously not usually something that Warwick will allow, but I guess he's making key considerations for such a strong player to his team. It's a great run in the middle.
He's got the room, he's got the first down, secured it, and you never see Jack Patterson get up off the floor with one man. There's always 2 or 3 around him. It takes that many to bring him down.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say he's the running back the Alphas would want to use in that situation. He's a physical runner. I've never seen Jack Patterson be stopped, like you said, by one person. It always takes 2 pushing forward. Yeah, so he's a real 4+ yard per attempt back.
I think that's good about having a versatile running back room like the Alphas do. Well, I'll touch on it in a second. It looks as though the referees are blowing the whistle for something. Is that end of quarter? Looks to be end of quarter. So as they're making their way across, you've got Jack Patterson, who's a tough, rough and tumble runner with an MMA background, so he's always going to be tough to take down. You've got Nat Wise, who's very fast back there, straight line speed. If he breaks into that open field, he's going to house it. You've got Jamal, who just falls forwards. But he had some huge runs last year. There's a lot of runs where people he breaks that first tackle and he's gone for 20, 30 yards up that sideline. And I'll be honest, Jamal, I've not seen you move like that. So I wasn't familiar with your game. Yeah, I'd love to see that again today.
Another great guy, Jamal. Helped out a lot with the under-19s this year.
The nicest man, but
he's a very, very nice man.
He will happily put his helmet into your chest.
Yeah, something must happen when he puts that helmet on, because he's a different beast. As we see the Alphas here, obviously changing ends.
So we are seeing Harry Patterson come in, number 11 at the top side of your screen, ex-receiver. So that's Jack Patterson's younger brother, who I believe you played with at under-19s?
Yeah, we played together at under-16s, so it's, I believe, the first player to really move from under-16s to the adults team. Obviously had the choice this year whether he wanted to stay at youth level or the adults, and he's picked the adults with his brother.
Jamal on the handoff, has the room, breaks one, breaks, and that's exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You will not bring him
Demanding
down. 3
or 4 tacklers to bring him down around 2 yards away. A great run.
Legs just keep churning. So we're seeing Jay Smith, Harry Patterson coming out now. Looks as though Adam Woodall and Jack Patterson coming in now. So switching out the brothers.
Yeah, I'm interested to see whether we'll get any Alex Irving at tight end. He was rumoured to be a potential starter at tight end. It seems to be Tom Noom today, but if Alex Irving, the defensive lineman, will come in at tight end at any point. 2 in the backfield. Assume possibly a run play.
If I were to guess, I'd say Jack Patterson's running this behind Jamal.
Yeah, you are correct. It's almost as if you played in this playbook.
Churning the legs. Alpha's trying to push that pile. Looks to be over the line from my angle. No signal from the referees yet. Lots of appeals to the referee. Oftentimes we'll see the pile get picked up, see where the ball is at the bottom of that pile, and then make an assumption. So we'll keep our keen eyes on the arms of those referees, see if we get a signal. Still conferring.
Looks to be...
Still no signal. Ball is down at looks like half a yard.
Yeah, that is very close to being a touchdown.
Historically for the Alphas, this has been Andy Bagnall territory. The QB sneak behind Martin Braley has been tried and trusted. We are seeing Culver stay out there.
Yeah, you wonder if Lewis Culver will be picking up the mantle. He's not...
Exact same unit.
He's not on the centre. I mean, fumbled, not what you want from the Alphas. I mean, they've got another down.
That's going to make it much more difficult. You'd love to have a few shots at it from the half-a-yard line, even if they are incomplete passes, so that's keep you where you are. But losing 5 on that is going to have to change your play calls. We'll see what Nick Bagnall decides to do from here. Keeping the same unit out there, which seems to be a run first.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in that situation, I can't comment on what the centre would have been thinking, but you can assume that he's expecting to just fire out straight away. Maybe that's at the forefront of his mind, causing the potential wayward snap.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure on centres in this game, which I think goes unnoticed. It looks as though he's actually got a nose over him as well, so a guy directly hitting him as soon as that ball moves, so it's very tough on centres. And tackle for a loss there.
Fantastic blitz there.
A wealth of people coming around that age. It looks as though 95 and 11 seem to be the first guys there. I'll get you some names. So 11 is Eder, playing at cornerback, so he must have come from the nickel or somewhere out there. And what number did I say? 95? Which I believe, according to the Rams website, is Jack Taylor Stocks.
Yeah, it's a great, well-timed blitz there. Obviously, the Rams sideline erupting. Doesn't look to be fourth down territory, but
offense is staying out there.
Staying out.
No. I take it back. Is that Dylan Pohl out there?
Yeah, it will be Dylan Pohl. It's Lewis Culver as the holder. Dylan Pohl, an accomplished kicker.
We're taking this from around the 10-yard line, so the kick will be and it's
it
a fake.
stays.
Lewis Truman hiding in the corner, and it's just out of reach.
It was a great
Lewis
catch.
Culver would love to have that one back, I think. Although it was open and there was an opportunity there, you almost have to think that you've got to capitalise on an uncovered receiver. It's so unfortunate, and I know Lewis would love to have that. Well, both Lewises.
Yeah, I mean,
that one back.
Took us by surprise. It was a great catch, and I know he would have come down with it, but just to miss long on that, it's a real. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, Lewis Truman getting frustrated with himself.
So I've ran that play with the Alphas last year, so we have run that before. And there is a lot of pressure, and there has to be that clear communication. Because you have a guy wide open, do you put that ball to the back of the end zone and have him have a steady jog? Are you expecting him to sprint? Are you expecting him to stand still? There has to be a clear assumption on what that receiver's going to do, because you can't throw it to where he is now and have him sprint away, and vice versa. So maybe just not on the same page there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to see it back, but whether it was a slower turnaround and throw, obviously you've got to still throw a good ball, because it's
tough jumping up off one knee. When you're on one knee in a holder's position, it's tough, especially as a right-handed quarterback where he is now. He's got to do a full 180 and throw that ball, so it's not an easy throw by any stretch.
Like you said, the timing may have been off. It may have been more of a sprint rather than a jog for Lewis Truman. It's one the Alphas would like to have back.
Taylor Rumlin drops back to pass, doesn't like
drops the ball.
Tries to scramble, drops the ball, gets one hand on it, but that didn't look very secure to me. That didn't look very secure, so we'll see who comes away with this at the bottom of the pile. I see more Alphas in there than I do Rams. No signal from the referees.
A fantastic job to keep hold of it. You got saved for number 13. Is that Taylor Rumland?
Yes, it is. Is it 13? Yes.
Yeah, he's done very well to keep hold of it. It looked to me as if he had one hand and about 5 Alphas players who, have to be said, are much bigger than him, jumping on him, trying to get the ball out of his hands. But they don't seem to have done that. I mean, I don't know what happened, if he just lost concentration, just dropped the ball.
Yeah, but, it looks as though his eyes were downfield, trying to find that running gap, and maybe potentially taking that ball from a throwing position in his hands into a runner's position, maybe lost it in that transition.
Lucky break from the Rams there.
Tackled by Luke Truman, brother of Lewis Truman. But like we say, fantastic player in his own right, and seems to be well at home in that linebacker position coming down.
Yeah, I mean, 2 very strong tackles so far. He's really taken to this linebacker position, exploding downfield.
So there have been a few changes amongst this Alphas defence. We've lost Dina, we lost Eli Roberts, both stupendous corners for the Rams in the last
Sean
few years.
Bedford.
Sean Bedford has gone, and he's in Canada?
GB now. Yeah, maybe in Canada, but
definitely working his way up that GB squad as well. He's been attending those trainings, been invited back, and seems to be doing really well from what I've heard.
Yeah, a lot of key players for the Alphas.
Oh, shovel option.
Very well designed play there.
I love a shovel option.
So that
play looks as though the quarterback's going to take off running to the right-hand side with his running back to his right. So those are the two things that you think about as a defense, or that you're worried about, and oftentimes you'll see that shovel option be added in as an extra wrinkle, which is normally a tight end or a sniffer for a forward pass, which teams often go and miss because they're hiding behind that offensive line as they move across. So we do have that sniffer on the near side for the Rams again.
The middle with some success, about 5 yards.
5 yards again. So we've got some new corners in the team. Secondary's looking a little bit revamped, obviously, as always, as part of the Alphas defence. And from the start of the Alphas until the end of time, Gaz Hughes will always be floating around there. 2 hamstrings or 1, doesn't matter, he'll be out there. We've got Dylan Pohl, as you said, came from the Seasons, and also Luca Martinez, number 20, I believe, is out there.
I'm not sure if he had a previous team, but there's done a lot of work with the Alphas media team in promotion of this game. And very talented in multiple ways.
Ooh,
great hit!
That will be an incomplete pass there, but a fantastic read from Gaz Hughes. Taylor Umland there was set up for the quick screen, but looks as though he lost the handling of the ball as he tried to throw that one. So obviously delayed the timing, which allowed a player with good game sense like Gaz Hughes to just come down, read that, and he can hit, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a very explosive play.
He's not the biggest guy out there, but if he can see a shot, he'll take it.
I mean, so much experience. His technique is almost flawless. I would say that's where he excels. Delivered a great hit. Did well to keep hold of that. Only a game of about 1 or 2. 3rd down and 5. The Rams. Quick pass over the middle.
Incompletion there on the connection between Taylor Umland and very experienced Spencer Wybrow, who's been saying that this is his last year of football for the last 8 years. But since Taylor has moved, so last year for the Rams, Taylor was the offensive coordinator. Previously was the quarterback before that, but was the offensive coordinator last year. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but he's one last ride of playing quarterback. So excited to see Taylor in his last year try and perform at the level that he has for quite a long time, actually, playing in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, he won't be particularly impressed with the start he's had today. Well, at 1 for about 5 attempts. Only short completion. He's not quite got that connection with the receivers that he would have wanted so far. A lot of quick passes.
I don't think they've even given 5 attempts yet, to be honest, and we're probably midway through the second quarter as we stand now.
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4. A couple of quick screens that haven't really gone his way. Obviously, that slant over the middle, not connecting. Obviously, you've got Gaz Hughes there delivering, about to deliver a large hit on them.
So a lot of playing experience between these two teams, but there are a lot of moving parts. I know Adam Lilly was previously offensive coordinator for the Sheffield Giants last year and prior years. Is now on the coaching staff for the Rams. Not sure his role there, but he's now part of that team. So as the Alphas have with Warwick moving into a head coach role and a few coaching changes amongst the Alphas, the Rams also have had those changes as well, as you always sort of see year to year in British American football.
Yeah, I believe that's a new kit.
Yeah, that made me really sad because they described this as a retro kit. And back when I used to play for the Yorkshire Rams, this was the kit I played in, so that makes me feel really old.
Ooh.
Split backs again. Immersion from Nat Wise. Jack Patterson looks to be running near side. And the corner just comes in and fills that end really well. Not sure the number. Can we get a number on that cornerback? Because that was really good contain.
If that's
15?
Yeah, 15.
Everyone deserves a shout out. Let's see if I can get your number.
Yeah, I mean, to take Patterson head on there.
And that's Nathaniel Derrick.
Really,
who, if I remember rightly, is extremely fast. I remember playing against him the last few years, and he was one that's always mentioned in the scouting report. So shout out to you for a cornerback with that make-up speed if you do end up getting a step.
Yeah, I mean, cornerback's possibly the position you need speed the most. And
so once now seeing normal trips up to the top, trips with a nub tight end. It looks to be a false start there.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was.
I see Thomas Noon 10 yards downfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be called on him, but he was definitely one of the culprits. So the Alphas will march back 5 yards, I believe. 5 yards, that puts us on 2nd and 14. Thomas Noon flexed out at receiver on our near side here. Huge size advantage. But like we said, Nat for the Rams, number 15, has make-up speed. So his speed against size down at this bottom side. Interesting to see what happens here. Play action fake.
Quick pass.
Looks to be a jailbreak screen to Lewis Truman. Stays on his feet.
This is very well there.
People dangling off his ankles.
It's one of those ones where, I guess when the receiver's held up, one person on the ankle, you could just see someone delivering. I mean, it's not dirty. It's not against the rules, but you can see someone.
If the ball carrier is still on his feet and still fighting for extra yards, it's fair game. So,
yeah.
And Lewis Truman is never going to be one to cower over and say, I'm happy with the yards I've got. He will always keep those giant legs of his churning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good 7 or 8 yard completion to make this a bit more manageable. On
I think it's basically made that penalty back.
Yeah,
maybe
no,
plus a yard.
Yeah.
We've seen a sprint out. Lewis Culver, I'm seeing Truman.
Goes deep.
Deep ball.
Truman completes. Fantastic catch.
Grab. Well adjusted. Ball slightly behind him.
And it looks to be maybe a bit
Those catches are so tough when there's people in between you and the ball and you never know whether to assume they're going to touch it or not.
Yeah,
You've almost got to play like the ball's going to make it through miraculously, and that's exactly what he did there, and a huge grab.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone from looking over outside shoulder, looked more like a corner than anything, to then turning all the way around, inside shoulder, falling back. Fantastic grab there from Lewis Truman.
So Alpha's inside the 5 yard line now, looking to make up for that last drive where they didn't end up coming away with the points. Nat in motion, Jamal up the middle, will churn, looks to have fallen in, and that's a touchdown for the Alphas.
Yeah, great work there.
By the huge play from Lewis Culver to Lewis Truman. Jamal is so tough to stop in those short yardage situations.
Yeah, following up a really good defensive stand from the Alphas with a really nice offensive drive, marching all the way down the field. A few penalties in there that can be ironed out. But,
it's nice to see as well when drives are sort of stalled for a second, when you've got those penalties, that the team has the wherewithal to move past it. Okay, next play, let's see where we can get to. And the Alphas did really well on that drive to recover from that penalty and end up coming away with 6 points so far. Let's see if they can make it 7.
looks to be through.
Yep.
Complete. 7-all.
Referee's hands up and good, so the score now moves to 7-all, still in the second quarter. So a little bit of history between the I guess you could call it a rivalry, because there've always been competitive games between these two. So back in 2023, I believe, was the first meeting of these two teams, where the Alphas won the first matchup 20-8 at home. Then for a close game, 21-20 at the Rams with an Alphas win. So
yeah, I do remember that one.
That first year. That was a very, very stressful game to play in. I was playing receiver.
I believe a Brian Wakeland late field goal, was it?
No, so that was, I think it was at the end of the game, and there was a clock management situation at the end.
Right, okay.
So I believe the Rams thought they had more time than the referees told them. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, it does ring a bell.
But yeah, so that was a very stressful game to be a part of, and that's how the 2023 season or rivalry between these two teams set out. In 2024, the Rams ended up taking the first win 32-28, and that was at the Rams' home. And then the Alphas brought invited the Rams back. Sorry, got distracted by the ball now. Oh, it's been touched. That's Tyler Broad. Finds a crease, tries to go to the far sideline. No,
he's still going. Good hit. I mean,
he's past halfway there.
Seems to do some sort of crossover with the ball before picking it up. And then
that was
take it about 50 yards.
Interesting pickup method there, but if there's anyone that's going to make a play on it, Tyler's a hell of an athlete. And oftentimes with punt returns and kick returns, the kicking or punting team is set up to field that ball based on them returning it straight away. So oftentimes when there is a little bit of a delay in pick up and returning, gaps tend to appear.
Yeah, it causes confusion, I would say. So, I mean, maybe that's the method everyone should go for.
So sorry, just to reconfirm the fixtures from 2024, the Rams won at the Rams 32-28 and the Alphas won at home 40-20 last year.
Yeah, really good field position for the Rams here after that long return. Looks to be motion from right to left, causing trips to the left. Going to run up the middle, number 27. Brought down now, I believe that's Luke Malahan.
Luke Malahan, is that Luke? It is.
It is.
I'll say that Viking hair anywhere.
And he's 23 years old, which is...
23 years old, was at the Alphas, but I believe 2 years ago now, moved back home to Oxford, played a year there at the Saints last year and is back up with us now. I believe he's played a mixture of linebacker and defensive line, but he's playing linebacker for the Alphas here today.
Yeah, I mean, without key Alphas figures such as Joe Canseco and Nick Tomaszewski, players like that, Luke Malahan, Luke Truman, step up.
Big run off the tackle. Elliot Jackson again looks to be number 12 with a big run there. Is that Loz Lowish down on one knee? I hope he's okay. He's always okay. He's got farmer strength.
Another great guy. There's Jack Marshall. Good at everything, including defensive line. Alex Irving as well. A standout figure of the under-19s coaching staff as well. He's got the mantle at as sort of de facto defensive coordinator.
So a spread here for the Rams. Does look like a heavy box for the Alphas. They're still keen on stopping that run. And it is a run to Elliot Jackson again, setting that edge. Outside. Who's the first man there? That was a fantastic setting of the edge. That's Natty Peck.
Natty Peck.
That's Natty. I believe he's playing safety today.
Really?
He got that.
Wow.
If he was safety before that play, he got down quick.
I mean, Natty Peck is a fantastic player. You'd have to assume it's not long until he's playing in the GB program for the adults team.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year for the Alphas last year. I know he was at the Sheffield Giants youth program. I believe he played there.
Yeah, quite a few years there.
Had a huge breakout year for the Alphas last year. I believe he had a pick six. I can remember one play when he just one-on-one tackle against a guy just rips the ball out.
Yes, yeah, he had multiple. Well, they call him the octopus because he's got ridiculously long arms, but for such a young guy, 20 years old.
Yeah, he is lined up at safety, so I don't know if he was before that snap, but if he was, he's done a hell of a job coming down and reading that.
Yeah, a real standout one to watch for the Alphas this season and going forward. A great player.
Also, thank you to Mark Brown on the YouTube stream for letting us know that Taylor is moving away for work, which is why this will be his last ride. Wish you all the best once you move, Taylor. So we're seeing trips to the top side. Is that trips?
Yeah. Trips,
yes, it is,
trips to the short side. Often.
And they will run again.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like it's not...
Well stopped.
Yeah, it's still working to an extent, but there's a lot more times the Alphas are stopping them after one or two. I mean, it's third down and still around 10. It looks to have been unchanged. The Alphas clearly made some adjustments. They're clearly having an impact.
Like I said, they do seem to be leaving quite a heavy box, even though they are spreading out those receivers. Don't know whether they're kind of daring the Rams here to try and force them to pass the ball. Maybe they're more confident in that area, but as you can see there's still a lot of Alphas players in the middle of that field.
Yeah, I mean, they're trusting the DBs one-on-one against the receivers. So far, that's working.
Drops back to pass.
Number one is
looking to his left. Post over the top. And that is a touchdown. That's a beautifully placed ball by Taylor Rowland. And what's the number on that? Is that 80?
82.
Oh, no,
or
it's 23. Is it? Sorry.
82.
82.
Apologies for that. I mean, with a post route over the middle, well-delivered ball.
And Joey McKenty there on the touchdown. Fantastic grab, ball over the shoulder, just stayed with it. And a beautifully placed ball by Taylor Rowland. Either that's a catch for a touchdown or it's an incompletion and you move on to the next play. Yeah,
I mean, as we were speaking about the potential Rams frailties at in the pass. A perfect connection for a touchdown.
So yeah, it did look as though the Alphas had made adjustments to leave those extra players in the box to stop the Rams' run. But there are risks to that, which leaves the pass game more open. You end up with your receivers one-on-one against the defensive backs of the Alphas, and if you like the matchups, you take your shot. And that's exactly what the Rams did there. So I believe the score currently is 13-7. Have we seen the kick? Have we seen the point after? Was I just not paying attention?
Looks like there's some confusion. Got number 1 over there celebrating.
Dan Hayward. So sorry, just to recon.
Yeah, confirmation there is 14-7 to the Yorkshire Rams, who are now kicked to the Alphas. Obviously, Alphas getting the ball after the half. Not quite sure how long's left on the clock, but won't be too long. It's been a run-heavy game. I
do believe Nick Bagnall, though, will try and get some points on the board, even if he does try and come away, if he's just aiming to play it safe, try and come away with a field goal before halftime, giving them the opportunity to then have another possession when we get to the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing Lewis Truman and that Wise back then. Elliott on kickoff. Kick return. So, fairly short kick.
Trying to find that space in front of Lewis Truman, it looks like.
Fielded by Truman, who takes an outside release. Put back inside, still going. It's a good tackle from behind.
Don't know how he's managed to find that space there, but Truman's got this weird ability on punt returns, kick returns. If there's not a gap, he'll make one.
Yeah, 85 with the tackle there.
Also
Truman's
from here
still
on in,
down, I believe.
If anyone is watching on the YouTube stream and wants to comment or wants to point out anything, do just let us know. We are trying to keep an eye on these comments now. Apologies for taking so long to look at those.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break. Hopefully Lewis Truman's okay. I saw the medical staff ask him to move his hands. I'm not sure what's happened there, but we'll take a quick break.
So we look to be moving on now. Looks as though there was a timeout there to prevent us from running over on the clock as the Alphas. Seeing trips to the far side, the quarterback's left. We are dropping back to pass. Pump fake, ball goes up.
Steve picked
too
off.
Far inside, and that has been intercepted by number 25.
Patterson with the tackle. I mean, it looks as if 2 Alphas were being covered by one person. Maybe just the wrong...
Apologies, number 25. I don't have a number for you today, but that is a very well-read play there. Unfortunately, it looks as though Lewis Culver tried to go, maybe try and get all those points back a little bit too quick. Tried to take a shot. Obviously, we don't know how long is left on the clock. If we did have 20 seconds left, then why not? I'm not sure on the game scenario for that one, but...
Yeah, I mean, whichever way you look at it, probably the wrong read. Not what you want, but maybe a mischance. It did look like it was Truman was more open further downfield.
So looking back on the replay here, just on the YouTube stream, so we don't have an actual replay facility here, so it might take us a little bit longer to get back to it. But looks as though that was an intended pass for Harry Paddison, who started on the outside left winger post all the way across the field. And it looks as though 25 just matched him all the way over.
Yeah, it was very well covered. Deep ball over the middle. Almost a DB running the route for Paddison. A miscommunication led him too far down the field, and a very good catch from the DB.
Now, if I'm the Rams, and I'm not, I'm trying to get something here, because you know the Alphas are going to get the ball after the half. They would like to go up by more than one possession, I assume. So we'll be minimum trying to get a field goal here, I would assume.
Yeah, I think we'll see, depending on how much time is left, we'll see what they want to do from the first play. If it's a run play, maybe they're a bit more resigned to take it.
We are seeing Jono in the backfield, who has had great success on his run plays so far. We've seen a motion here from 23, Tyler Broad. Wheeling now up the sideline. Incomplete.
Yeah, you saw Dylan Pole run across the middle there. Not quite the best pass. Sort of missed the connection between the receiver and the quarterback there, but could have been dangerous, but well covered, and an incomplete pass.
Alphas adjusted really well to the motion there. Safety bumped over, came down to guard that extra receiver that was now on the Scunthorpe defense's right-hand side, with the safety rolling up to play the middle of the field. Adjusted well to that. I think potentially they could have hit Tyler Broad up the sideline, but that man had already ran 20 yards just to get across the field on that motion. So,
another run play to the right here.
Elliot Jackson. Looks as though it's Loz Lowish in on the tackle there. Is it 58?
Yeah.
That's Luke Malahan again.
Oh, is it Malahan? Yeah, you saw Luke Truman well blocked by, I believe, the right guard of the Yorkshire Rams. Pushed back quite considerably. A lane around 6 yards to go for the first down. 3rd and 6 for the Rams now.
Trips to the top hand side. Looks to be another run up the middle again.
First down for the Rams.
Luke Truman again. Those linebackers are getting their work in today. Is that referee signaling timeout, Alphas?
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, looks first down for the Alphas. For the Rams. Pardon me. That was a really good stretch at the end there from the Rams running back. So confirm that first down. It will be at the half. And former Alphas head coach Alex Robson watching from Turkey. I believe they're on holiday, so I hope they're having a good time. But a guy that is a real staple of the Alphas. Obviously, miss him having him around.
The Alphas would, one, not be here, and two, not be the team it was without Alex Robson's contribution to the team. So obviously, everyone here at the Alphas thanks him for everything he's done for the club, and has now left him in the team in the capable hands of Warwick with a first-year head coaching role. Yeah,
obviously, Alex Robson did a lot of work with the youth team, the flag team in particular, really, which is Dort plays for, and what they've seen, they're a very strong side under Howden Smith.
Run off tackle there. Tackle for loss.
Yeah, tackle for loss. Natty Peck looked to be in there.
Natty Peck was part
as well
of it.
As
Alex Irving setting that edge as well. Alex Irving was, he's had a bit of a journey. He's had a short playing career, but he played his first year of senior adult football in the UK at the Rams. He's been at the Hull Sharks for 3 years, where he's played fullback, tight end, guard,
O-line,
D-line, O-line, everything in between. He's one of those guys that you can just, we need someone to get on the field now. He's one of those first guys to get in there, and that's why the Alphas have rewarded him with a captaincy today, which I saw on the social media this morning.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that when you're walking around the sidelines, he's always questioning why he's not on the pitch. Always. One of those guys that potentially annoying for a coach at the time, but
The
when
man
you look
just
back
loves
at it,
football.
yeah,
The
he
man
really
loves
wants to be on
football.
the field, and that's someone you want around the team. Yeah, bring in that whole energy.
Okay, Alpha's DBs look to be sitting off a little bit now, almost in damage prevention mode. Let's not let them come away with a touchdown here. You can take the 3-4 yards underneath. I'm not letting you score a touchdown, is the message I'd be getting from this cover 4 look. But they are going to throw a
Goes
deep ball.
deep.
82 has a step. Oh!
As Hughes, maybe there's some of his in his eyes again. I mean, that's his usual excuse, but
He does have an ongoing battle with the sun. It's always in the way of the ball.
yeah,
for him,
and
but
his own hands.
it looks as though, unfortunately for the Alphas there, that one just fell perfectly in between the DB on the near side. I'm not sure who that one is, and Gaz. So neither of them, unfortunately, able to make a play on that ball. But
Yeah, I believe that's Luca Martinez. I may be wrong.
I was told he was playing in 20, but may have changed slightly. So apologies for that, Luca.
Charles Ranson, I believe.
Charles Ranson.
Former Shropshire Revolution.
Yes.
Moved across for work, I believe, and now playing for the Alphas. They play with some britball experience.
Run up the middle again. Huge hit there.
Stopped very well.
From Luke Truman again.
And 4 or 5 times to mention his name.
That is exactly what I love to see from a linebacker tackle. It's not, I'm just hitting you for the sake of it. It was a hard hit with the shoulder, with the arms wrapping round, that allows the other Alphas to then come and potentially try and make a play on the ball, but you know he's secured that tackle regardless.
Yeah, textbook technique, one-on-one tackle. Yeah, completely solo tackle, brought him to ground. Yeah, a picture of what a tackle should be, I would say. I believe Alpha's youth, Jay Scott in the comments as well. DB, formerly of the Alphas, then the Sheffield Giants youth teams. And DB this year for us.
That looked to be a timeout. I saw some waves from the referees. Looks as though that was potentially from the Alphas. Don't quote me on that, as there wasn't a returner on the field. Looks as though the Rams are coming out in their punt unit and we didn't have a returner on the pitch. Oh, I'm not sure what's happening now. So we've seen a bit of chop and change in personnel from both sides of the pitch. I know Dan Haywood, number 1 on the far right-hand side of your screen, has punted before. I assume he is the punter for the Rams here today. But one thing to be aware of, he was the quarterback last year and has played quarterback for many moons before. Always eyes on the tricky players when Dan Haywood's on the pitch.
And maybe the
So Dan Haywood is there.
best football fashion from a punter I've ever seen.
But it looks that he's not punting. He's on as a personal protector with Tyler Broad taking the kick. And that is a fake. There is no whistle. Now there is a whistle.
I think it's a knee. Maybe that was the intention the whole time. Bit of confusion there from both sides.
Yeah. It looks as though it was an intended fake because the ball got snapped to Taylor Umland, the starting quarterback for the Rams. But then there was no action after that. Now, I don't know whether there was a very clear offsides or a defensive encroachment that they were almost expecting the play to stop.
I mean, you saw the receiver on the top right-hand side jokingly running a post quite slowly, but clearly no intention of getting the ball. I mean, flag goes out, but
The flag does come out late, and there is obviously a whistle late, but it looking back on the stream, and obviously you're welcome to join me and rewind, but it looks as though there was no issue on that play. To me, anyway.
half time.
Oh, well, with that
calls.
very interesting play, which may in the end have just been the way they line up for a kneel.
Yeah,
Maybe. Who knows?
Quite sure
But
what that was.
it looks as though that one is going to take us to half-time as both of the teams look to have a bit of a get-together, discuss potential changes, potential options coming into the second half, as we do have a very competitive game here going into the half, 14-7 to the Yorkshire Rams. Goes up.
And we're back for the second half. The kickoff now. Yorkshire Rams kicking off to the Alphas. Not an onside kick. They're going short, bouncing. Nat Wise picks it up. Back to Harry Patterson's
back there, who's brought down immediately by number 5 and number 15 for the Rams. Good tackling there from the Rams. Not faked out at all by the reverse from the Alphas.
Yeah, it's quite worrying to see a lack of Lewis Truman on the kickoff. Obviously, it looked as if he may have been injured. Hopefully, we see him.
I was speaking to him at halftime.
You do see him out there. Okay, that's good. That's
did seem fine. Didn't say anything about being out. He was moving around.
Well, that's good to see them. Maybe it's just a chance to get Harry Patterson some game time. Not exactly what he would have wanted on that.
So we will see the Alphas offense first in this second half. Like I say, both teams trying to come away with some points at the end of that first half, but neither team able to do so. So now we're back to our normal regular scheduled events. I would assume we see both teams try and establish the run again.
Yeah, I would like to see Lewis Culver having a few more opportunities to throw the ball. He throws a fantastic football. Not given many opportunities
Patterson
to.
Immediately in the backfield, but manages to wiggle his way out.
Great block on the outside.
He's going a long way around, but managing to come away with 13, 14 yards on that play. Fantastic run. It feels like there the Rams just took bad pursuit angles. There's a few people there that had an opportunity to meet him. I know Jack Patterson does have a bit of a belly on him, but the man can move.
Yeah, he had a lot of space. Not what the Rams would have wanted there. I mean, great block on the outside, Adam Woodall. I'd like to mention that. Really maintained good leverage and position on the DB. A lot of space for Jack Patterson.
We are seeing that more spread out formation again here, though. Thomas Noon, normal tight ends, spread out as a solo wide receiver with trips to the top. We are looking to pass. Looks like a sprint out. Lewis Truman in the flat, I think.
Yeah, Truman about 7 yards. A nice completion for the Alphas.
The tried and trusted player that for the Alphas. It's been in the playbook the last couple of years. It seems as the defenses just don't seem to be able to rotate well to that sprint out pass play. So if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I'd say from my point of view, a play like that, obviously it's always, as we see a Ram injured on the floor, those sort of plays, you've got a speed cut for Truman. He needs to get out there. Lewis Culver, right-handed quarterback, rolling that to the right.
So we are just cutting away from the game for a second here as there is an injured Ram on the floor. Unfortunately, I don't have a number for you. I'll get one when I can. So the medical staff are just seeing to that now. Both teams are just making their way to the sidelines. Just a quick update. We are still tending to the injury on the field. We are still here. Both teams are currently on the sideline as the medical staff are treating the injured player. So back to the action here. It was number 22 for the Rams that was down injured, Alex Crossley. Hope he recovers well. But we're back to the action here.
It's a throw over the middle.
Ooh, did that hit the referee? So that was 2nd and 4. Looks as though it was an RPO, so a run pass option. Lewis Culver, the quarterback, has the option to hand the ball off to the running back or throw a quick pass before the offensive lineman get downfield. Looks as though it was incomplete there. Did it hit the referee?
Well, it may have hit the referee. Didn't look to me like it would have really got into any receiver's hands. It looked... Lewis Culver throws a fantastic ball, but sometimes, personally to me, it looks maybe a bit casual sometimes. in terms of a very relaxed style.
Yeah. But I think that is just because he's drilled his throwing motion down for so many years that it just looks relaxed. And remember, you're comparing that to me last year where everything looked panicky.
Potentially, but incomplete on that last.
Truman in motion, expecting him to get the ball. Yep, there's the jet sweep. Not quite what we were looking for.
A bit of a missed block from Jack Patterson there.
Looked like we got a good first block around the edge, but as soon as he got outside that tackle box, he was met with two defenders, tried to run through the gap in between them, but unfortunately couldn't break that one. We end up on 4th and 1. Looks as though we're getting the punt team out. Bit of miscommunication there, it looks like, from the Alphas in terms of head count, making sure we've got the right amount of players on the pitch. But Harry Patterson from the under-16s comes on to make the numbers. Jamal there screaming for an extra 1. Low snap, gets to the hands of Dylan.
Done well there to get rid of that.
Recovers, looks as though it's going to bounce around the 30. Takes
Sean
an
takes a
Alphas
great bounce. Yeah, sort of damage limitation.
Be down just inside the 30, where the Rams will take over, and one could only assume they will try and run inside zone, split zone, and I think it's GT counter they're also running until they end up in the end zone again. Yeah,
definitely trusting the 3 or 4 strong running backs they've got rather than the arm of Taylor Rumland. Although we have seen one of their touchdowns, really nice post route over the middle.
But that did come from establishing that run, and I hate to say we called it, but we were just addressing as it happened that the box was looking a bit heavy, and there's less DBs out there on the field to cover the pass, and then they get hit with the pass. 2 receivers up top. Motion from the sniffer. Going to be an inside handoff again.
Looks like the Alphas.
I assume that's Big Jono, once again.
Yeah, it's that run through the A gap. Just, you'd expect someone maybe to be there, but it seems like whether it's really strong blocking or just maybe on the Alphas' point of view.
Let's not take it away from the Rams' offensive line as well, though. They're doing a fantastic job. It's a very experienced O-line there that I recognise a few familiar faces out there, so there's at least a few of them that have been together for a few years now and obviously working very well. But like you say, I feel like there's got to be an Alphas helmet to fill that gap somewhere.
Yeah, you'd like to think that adjustment would be made because it's continual up that A gap. They're very, very dominant in that one area.
We are seeing another inside handoff to Jono. That time stopped very well. Jono is a tough man to bring him down, so the Alphas there just hold him up at the line. No gain, no loss. Looks like they gave him a yard, actually. Judging by that far official. We're seeing Chris Peel come in now. Very experienced player, been everywhere in the country, wearing the worst football attire I have ever seen, with the gold...
the gold undershirt.
Gold undershirt.
Ooh. What, number 21?
Number 21. He's played running back, he's played offensive line, he's played D-line, he does a little bit of everything. He looks slimmer than I've seen him in previous years, though, but I expect him to make an impact on this one. Coming across, kicking out the end.
Yeah.
He does just that, they end up running behind him.
He's still going.
Jono's broken one.
And more. There's a touchdown for the Yorkshire Rams.
That's a fantastic run by Jono.
Number 27, I believe.
Fantastic run by Jono. He was met with contact all the way down the field, but none of them are able to wrap him up, unfortunately. It looks as though a few of the Alphas players there just going in with the shoulder rather than wrapping up, which obviously not fundamentally good football just for this scenario. If you bounce off, he's just going to keep going, and that's a big boy.
Yeah, that is a very very good touchdown there for the Rams. Takes them the 13 points, had 2 scores with a chance to make it 14 points with the extra point hand.
Like I say, I hate to say we jinxed it again, but we were just talking about Chris Peel. They ended up running just off the block of Chris Peel, kicking out that end. Did look as though he got a little bit handsy with it. Might have been a bit too much. Some would maybe appeal for a flag, but there was no flag, so that means it's perfectly legal. So, good job, Chris.
Looks like
There's a flag.
Yeah, flag on the extra point. Illegal substitution.
Not quite sure what that could be. Potentially too many people on the pitch.
I think they said legal sub.
But how?
I don't know. I don't really know why.
Apologies for the lack of insight there, but they're moving back 5. So it looks as though they'll be kicking this from around the 15-yard.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a point to go back to at the end of the game if the Alphas are able to score 2 touchdowns. Looks up. And good.
Kick is good. I believe that's by number 2. I can't see. Is it 2? 8.
Must be.
I think that's number 8. So shout out to Trish for that kick.
Yeah, correct. Number 8.
It's a great kick by Trish. I'm not sure, once again, on the field attire of red gloves and red boots to go with the black and gold kit.
Yeah, I feel if it's a black and gold kit, there's a good rule of just stick to black or gold.
Even white. White would be fine.
I think, well, I guess white's a nice neutral colour.
But the Rams are donning a new kit this season. I don't know if it's just for the first few games or for the full year, but going back to their historical black and gold from the black and purple they've worn for the last few years.
Yeah, the red gloves is number 3 with a bit of a squib kick. Fielded well. Off the middle.
It's a fantastic return.
Great running.
By 81. What a return. People bouncing off left and right. Looks as though the blocking was great there. There was an alleyway as well. Not sure who number 21 is.
21 is
get that for you. No, it's not Wise. No, it's 81 that was returning that. Wasn't it? It was 81.
Amateur error. 81, Harry Lightfoot.
Harry Lightfoot, who I spoke...
rugby.
Yeah, he's a rugby player.
Yeah, rugby player.
Which I heard, I'm not sure if it was from Chip or from Warwick, that he played fullback in rugby, which obviously translates really well to punt return, kick return game, and looks to be doing well there.
Yeah, I believe a Scunthorpe native. Obviously, rugby is a big sport in this town. Yeah, Harry Lightfoot with a really good return there.
So I believe Harry Lightfoot joined the team with a rugby teammate of his, Pete Shaw, who I believe is wearing 96. I don't think I've seen him out there today. May have just missed it. But they both come from a rugby club, and rugby does translate quite well to American football. So if you are maybe a rugby player in the area or across the country and are looking at getting into a new sport, maybe give your local American football club a go, because it does translate really well, as shown there. Because I think that's the first time he's touched the ball and he's made a massive positive impact for the team straight off the bat. Yeah,
it looks that way. And obviously, from a kick return, the fundamentals of rugby, ball in hand, making people miss, especially that asset of the game, is very similar. So yeah, maybe another player the Alphas can use in the special teams. Obviously, they've seen is it Elliot Knight, Lewis Truman, Harry Patterson.
Nat Wise has been back there as well.
Nat Wise and Harry Lightfoot. So 5 players, real difference makers, athletic guys on special teams. As I believe I want to say number 2 is down on the field there.
And that's a wide receiver, Scunthorpe, for the Yorkshire Rams, who's down at the moment. So medical staff just tending to him. We will be back with you shortly once this has been seen to. Just looking through the... I'll chat after this play. So we're back to it now. 1st and 10 for the Alphas following Harry Lightfoot.
First time we've seen this empty look. Culver looks to Tom Noon too high. Did notice Alpha's running back Aaron Sparrow not kitted up. I'm not sure whether that was a pre-game decision or an injury before. I'm not quite sure. Looks...
Just looking through the YouTube comments at the minute. Davidas saying 4th and 2, that's tush push charity. I called that earlier. Give Andy Bagnall that ball, let him just shove the pile. It's tried and trusted. Looks as though they're not really running that too much this year. I've not seen it this game anyway.
It's a 2-back formation. I believe that is Harry Patterson.
Looks as though Lewis Culver's changing something at the line here.
Jay Smith in there as well. Looks to be a bit of a miscommunication here.
I think that was designed to be a run play, but it looks as though both of the running backs there set off to go lead block, leaving Lewis Culver to do nothing but tuck that ball and try and get what he can. Ends up getting a couple of yards, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to see your quarterback going headfirst into that area, especially when it's when he's sort of taking a bit off guard.
Unless it's me.
Unless it's you, of course. Or maybe someone like Joe Canseco. I know he'd quite like to do something like that.
Lewis Culver scrambling outright. He's looking deep. Truman does have space.
Comes up over
high,
him.
points that ball, jumps over the guy, shrugs off one, is taken out of bounds by the next.
Another fantastic catch.
Great contested catch there by Lewis Truman. Good ball from Lewis Culver. Throw in on the run once again. That sprint out that's worked so well for the Alphas in previous years comes back in there. Now, I didn't quite see the route concept on that one. I'd assume if Truman's in that space, it looked to be a corner, which I don't know if he's ever said this, but I would say, if I had to guess, and I'm definitely a betting man, that's Truman's favourite route to run on the tree. He loves a corner route. Let him go into that space.
I like a corner as well. It's a nice one, especially from that slot position. And from a quarterback point of view, if you've got a receiver that you can throw it up to that easily and such a large catch radius, Lewis Truman, he's a quarterback's dream.
Looks to be a set-up screen. Bit of miscommunication on the block in there, so it looks as though Aidan Light set off at left tackle there to get the block. Oh, a lot of appeals here. Can we pan to the right? Looks as though the ball came out.
I believe that was whistled down.
Rams are claiming that they have the ball. Refs say no go. And that's Lance out there in 0, who was appealing for having the ball. Lance Jackson, who is famously known for being the victim of a Mike Sison and Ryan Wakeling highlight. I'm sure he'll love me mentioning that.
I reckon you go further. Explain what that highlight was.
So that was a play from a few years ago. I was in at running back behind Joe Canseco at quarterback. We ran a toss to the left, so me running the ball to the left. However, with my previous quarterback experience, we had a trick play designed where it looks like I'm going to run the ball, and then I throw a deep bomb to Ryan Wakeling for a touchdown on this very pitch.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciates that one when he watches it back.
Deep ball from Culver. He's got
Looks
Nooney.
like he's open.
Get in, Nooney.
Touchdown, Alphas.
Touchdown, Thomas Nooney. That man is just too big. And if you've got a tight end like that, I was surprised earlier that Lewis Culver managed to overthrow him because he is a taller gent. But that time, you throw it up, let the big man go make a play. He comes down with 6 points for the Alphas.
Yeah,
Great
I mean, we
play.
didn't... Obviously, with a favour from a replay, but of a player of that size, incredible clear route running to get open. He had 2 guys covering him, but he'd broken over the top. Watching back now.
So yeah, he gets a complete free release from the line. The safety over the top of him just bites down underneath him. He runs a corner route again. So that's twice. Is that 2 plays in a row that the Rams have been beaten by a corner? Or was there a play in between?
Interestingly, speaking to Sam Folds at halftime,
Sam Folds, quarterback coach, I believe.
Yeah, formerly record holder of every single record in the book at University of Hull Sharks. He was saying at halftime how the corner route is open if they run it quite flat, and you've seen that 2 in a row. So So clearly he knows what he's talking about, and it's an adjustment they would have made at half time. But spoke about Tyler Broad biting down after his read steps quite quickly, which is exactly seen there as Noon just gets just ahead of him. Hit to trigger happy, coming down into the flat, and the corner route clearly working. So evidence that adjustments at half time have clearly made a difference in the second half.
It looks as though we've got a new kicker out for the Alphas.
Will Swales, backup quarterback.
Backup quarterback out.
Kicker last year, famous for his golf celebration.
Short kick bouncing out to the left. He's got a bit of room here. Good block on the edge. Still dancing, still going.
Very good return.
It's a very good return. Very patient. There wasn't a gap there. Waited for one to appear. And you're never going to complain at a return that gets you into the opponent's half. So fantastic return there. I think that was by number 10.
Yeah, it's been a high quality game on the offensive side of the special teams. Returners have done really well today. I mean, obviously from a defensive point of view, in terms of the kicking team, not exactly what they'd be wanting. In terms of it's been a consistent midfield start position on every single drive for the Rams and for the Alphas to a certain extent, outside of a few poor returns.
Speed option. There's that shovel again.
Nearly picked off there.
Push back again. That's very risky. Very risky business.
I mean,
so the shovel option that we saw earlier worked extremely well. I believe to Jono it happened earlier. This time I believe they tried to hit Chris Peel on it. However, the Alphas defensive line snuffed that out, managed to get a body in between the quarterback and Chris Peel before the ball gets there. Wasn't intercepted, but they managed to get hands on Chris Peel, wrap him up immediately, and then Chris Peel tries to pitch that back to Taylor Umland.
Yeah, it's another risky one. You see Luke Malahan again in there celebrating. There's a few Alphas players in there, but Luke especially seemed to cause a disruption. I think the Alphas linebackers are playing really well today.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously,
absolutely.
The runs have got through the D-line quite easily, but
very technical difficulties. We are trying to zoom out here. There we go.
A strong performance in the open field from these linebackers.
Bit of over pursuit there from the Alphas, giving him a crease. He's got room down there. That's Elliot Jackson, gets pushed out by Dylan Pearl. So yeah, I'm sure you probably saw the blur of white lines on your screen there, moving from right to left as the Alphas shot down to try and make the most of that run, but unfortunately not able to make contact, which when you shoot out of those positions just opens up more lanes for the run to go through, which is what Elliot Jackson ended up capitalising on there.
Yeah, it's been a consistent battle between the Yorkshire Rams running backs and the Alphas linebackers. You'd say despite the Alphas linebackers playing quite well, the Yorkshire Rams running backs clearly have a very high standard. About 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, and they seem to be rotating almost every player, which shows the complete faith that the Rams have in their players to be able to rotate it. I'm not a huge fan personally of doing that because I believe your running backs have to get into a bit of a rhythm, but it is working for the Rams here. As that sniffer comes across, they end up running behind the sniffer this time. There's lots of bodies in there, but he is still chugging, he's still going.
3 or 4 yards.
I think they're giving him 3 on there.
Very important for the Alphas. Yeah, from an Alphas point of view, they need a stop on this drive. Touchdown for the Rams.
It would be big for the Alphas here if they can.
Steve Sowerby back at D-line. It looks like that.
Not sure whether that's due to injury or just.
I mean, well, we saw Cam Belk.
Cam did go down first play of the game.
Yeah, at
hope he is doing okay. I didn't get a chance to catch up with him at half time, but he is still down there on the sideline.
Steve Sowerby more of an edge rusher.
Where is Steve lined up now?
Looks to be it looks to be
defensive tackle at the moment.
Yeah, maybe a one tack. Be quite far inside. Wow.
Quarterback rolling out to his left. Looks like miscommunication. He'll try and throw that away. So I think that should be intentional grounding as the ball didn't go past the line of scrimmage. Looks as though the refs aren't giving anything there. There's not much of an appeal for it. So maybe that's just me.
Yeah, no, I mean, out of the tackle box. But if it's not back to the line of scrimmage, it
still has to go past the line of scrimmage there, I believe. Maybe wrong. I hope I am right, though, because the amount of times I've almost put my shoulder out of joint trying to throw the ball past the line of scrimmage.
Oh, yeah, flag on the play on the far side. I believe you're right there. Maybe called intentional grounding. I'll have to listen now. Yeah, intentional grounding. Yeah, good call,
There
mate.
you go. Davidas back in the chat. Alphas have got to pinch both sides of the Rams O-line. It worked really well in 2023. So Davidas obviously played for us a couple of years ago. He's also made a bit of a journey around britball. Played for a few teams, but ended with the Alphas. I'm not sure if he's currently playing anywhere, but
It was
fantastic player
Manchester
who you
Titans
could-
last season.
Where was he?
Titans last season.
Yes, it was.
I'm not sure if he's still there now. Obviously, they've gone through a lot of changes since 3 britball wins in a row.
Yes. No, I think they were going for 3.
Or was
They
it
ended up with
2?
Yeah, I think
2 in
they
a row,
ended up with 2.
yeah. Oh, of course.
But yeah, Davidas, famous for a big play against the Rams a few years ago, forcing a fumble on the quarterback and almost making the guy do an entire front flip while taking the guy's legs out from underneath him. Davidas, fantastic athlete, fantastic player.
Yeah, I mean,
genuinely a guy you could put anywhere on the football field and he'll make plays.
Yeah, that 2023 game at the Rams, the Alphas' close win. I remember Davidas making a really nice play on kickoff, causing the ball to go out of bounds, and downing it outside. Yeah, really smart play.
Jono back in the backfield now for the Rams, so you would expect to run, and he does get the ball. Look, I tell you what though, it looks as though the defensive ends there tried to squeeze that O-line. So maybe our commentary is getting played outside this booth and it's getting down there to the coaches, Davidas, or maybe just great minds think alike.
Yeah, 4th down and 10. A good stand from the Alphas. Obviously, the intentional grounding, but that was caused by good pressure from the outside.
There was pressure on that play, but it did look like a bit of miscommunication as well.
Yeah,
Quarterback did start off running, but
he did seem to go the wrong way.
Yeah, there was no one really running with him or anything like that. It looks as though this is a long field goal attempt that we've got here.
Yeah, big kick. Ball
has the length
off the post.
I believe Chris Peel was playing one hand, one bounce rules there, so I thought he was going to get a touchdown, but that's a fantastic attempt. You don't see many longer field goal attempts at britball. He definitely had the leg there, but hits the right upright.
I want to say, 30, 35 yards potentially there. Obviously, to an NFL standard, not particularly long, but in this level of football, a risky decision. Very unlucky. Had the length.
I don't think it was risky.
Direction.
I think they knew their kicker had the leg to get there. So I think if you've got it, why not? They're very unlikely to go for it. And I think, what was that, 4th and 8, somewhere around there?
Yeah, around 4th and 10.
I don't think going for it there was an option. So if you've got it, why not try it? There's no point in trying to pin the Alphas back. What, you're maybe going to get 10 yards out of it and push them back to the 10. Not worth it. I'd rather take the 3 points. So we've got, it looks like that starting unit again. So Adam Woodall, Lewis Truman, Jack Patterson, Lewis Culver, and Jay Smith up top. Looking up top.
Over the middle.
Does find Jay Smith, who's met immediately by Tyler Broad.
Yeah, great tackle by Tyler Broad. Nice catch, especially knowing over the middle that you're probably going to take a hit quite quickly. That can be quite daunting for, especially someone who's not a full-time wide receiver.
Yep.
Great catch over the middle, slightly behind him.
But also a fantastic play by Tyler there, who's obviously coming down from the safety spot, making the connection. No need for anyone else to rally to it. Don't worry, boys. I've got this.
Yeah, no, that was...
He's a very sure tackler, is Tyler.
Yeah, good play all round. 8 yards for the Alphas, 2nd and 2. Now on quite an important drive.
Looks like a screen.
A lot more space
Truman, great block on the outside by Woodall. Gotta go. And Truman goes out of bounds, hits the first down, and looks like about 10 yards from what we had there. Well, if you can take 10 yards on a screen that only relies on one person blocking, you take it every time.
Yeah, I mean, that
Woodall
was,
with a fantastic block out there. If that block wasn't on, Truman maybe would have lost yards there, but fantastic block. Allowed Truman to get up to speed, and Truman at full sprint is a dangerous sight.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 really nice blocks on the outside from Adam Woodall. Not had the
any opportunities yet to catch the ball.
Yeah, but as played his role in other ways.
Would like to see him get a couple of opportunities there.
Yeah, you want to see the ball being thrown around to everyone. Because it's been Lewis Truman
Low
heavy.
snap. Lewis Culver tries to dive on that, misses it with the first attempt, but does end up getting it on the second. Pressure there from number 34, it looks like.
Back to
90, 95 all there. So Culver did a good job dropping on that damage limitation. There's no point in trying to pick that up and trying to make a play out of it. You know, if you pick that up and you turn, you're going to get hit by 3 people immediately. So the safe option, live to fight another down, although we are in tough territory here with
2nd and 25.
25 yards. 2nd and 25. I'm intrigued now to see whether the Alphas try and take a shot and make this a manageable third, or are they trying to... Does look like it. We're going deep.
Goes deep.
Oh, and that Woodall was the shot to Adam Woodall, unfortunately, through the hands. It did look like it was going to be a tough sideline catch. I know it's slightly blocked by the TP that's in front of us on this sideline, but I think there maybe was an opportunity to catch that, but it was a tough toe tap on the sideline and unfortunately just went through the hands.
Yeah, flag on the play behind the line of scrimmage indicates usually maybe a holding call.
Typically a holding.
That would just...
the Rams are moving back though.
Seems like they're going forward. Maybe
I don't know if that was the signal from the referee, but
I think it's potentially a late hit. Down.
I think that may have been a potential late hit on the quarterback there.
Could be. I mean, that's a big break from the Alphas.
I know you guys can't see this at home, but this hand signal. Round the block.
The 20 for the Yorkshire Rams off the field. Big break for the Alphas then. 1st and 10.
Back on 1st and 10.
Drive,
Nat Wise.
stays alive.
Now that'd be a fun battle I'd pay to see a little bit more. So that's the first time in a while I've ever seen Martin Braley go back on a play, but it looks as though he was getting pushed by Chris Peel there. So it looks as though Chris Peel, who I mentioned earlier, who's in that sniffer position, is now in a defensive tackle. I don't know if he's in a nose alignment, a zero tech, but that's
giving Andy Bagnall a run for his money. To play in every single position.
Is that a change of ends?
Looks to be.
So we're moving into the fourth quarter. This is a very, very run-heavy game, which obviously means that we're taking more and more time off the clock with every play. So we are into the 4th quarter now, it appears. Change that on the scoreboard for you. Apologies, Mark Brown there. The call was roughing the passer, 15 yards and an automatic first, and Chris Peel was starting a defensive tackle. I've only just noticed him. Thanks for that, Mark. Also, sorry, Chris.
Yeah, you can see him there with the unmissable, shiny.
Yeah, it's hard to miss someone wearing a shiny gold undershirt.
And gold and black heart.
But I've played 10 years of britball, and if there was one person that I'd guess would do it, it's probably Chris Peel. Jumpy from the linebackers, a lot of pressure coming, picked up well.
Goes deep.
Oh, it looks as though Adam Woodall stopped running his route there. Maybe didn't think the ball was going to get there.
Yeah, it looks a nice ball from Lewis Culver.
It was well placed. I just think it looked as though Adam maybe gave up on that one. Maybe didn't think he was to be expecting the ball, but that was a fantastic pickup from the O-line. I think the running back stayed in to pass protect there as well. Maybe wrong, but that was a good pickup because the linebackers there from the Rams were jumpy before the ball was even snapped, and then they actually ended up coming post snap as well.
Yeah, you'd like to see a receiver maybe be a bit more aggressive trying to get the ball there. Obviously, if they don't know it's coming, it's tough to call, but you'd like to see him fighting through the coverage, trying to make a play on it. It's twins both sides.
This is an alignment. We've got receivers up top. We've got a tight end running back down at the bottom.
At West.
He's looking this way. It looks to be a screen to Jamal. Just out of the fingertip reach there. Also in the middle of your screen as well. Not sure if we saw him at the beginning, number 60 for the Rams. Good friend of mine, Sam Reed. Good to see him out there. I don't think don't know how much I've seen from him this game, but he is an anchor in that defensive line. He soaks up blocks. You have to assign 2 people to him. He's tough to take on one-on-one. Just a strong human.
A punt from the Alphas, a 4th and 8.
Looks to be a punt. It looks as though we've got number 12 back there, which is Elliot Jackson, the running back who's had a hell of a game so far, and Tyler Broad also short in front of that as well. They're looking to kick away. Perfect
Great
spiral
kick.
there. Let's see if we can get a bounce. No, it does go into the end zone.
Yeah, it's a tough bounce. Great kick from Dylan Pohl there. Perfect spiral in the air.
And I'll be honest with you, if I was a special teams coordinator, I think kicking the ball out of bounds or kicking it out the back is a damage limitation play, and I'd be happy with that every single time. Especially from that field position, it's tough to get you guys down there and stop them inside the 20. So probably the best option. So as you were saying a little bit earlier, Jay, not many drives so far have had to go full length of the pitch. Rams getting possession here at the 20.
Yeah, this is one of them. It'll be interesting to see because I don't think the Rams have really had much time spent in their own half. So obviously backed up like this doesn't really change too much, but a lot. Maybe they've schemed for real longer drive like this. See what they go for.
It's going to be another Jono run up the inside.
Great
Fantastic tackle. Who's that? 95?
I believe
95 is a new player from
Michael Bowles. Number 95. I believe a rookie this season for the Alphas with a great tackle.
Not sure if he's played anywhere else. Obviously, his first year as an Alpha, I believe.
Yeah, first year as an Alpha. I mean, with technique like that and a great chase down tackle, you'd expect maybe he's played more than just a preseason. But a really nice tackle there.
It's tough to know with britball though. Could have potentially played a few years ago, had a couple of years out and come back. There's always that option, but it looks to be fitting right in there. So if he is a rookie, he's doing very well. Okay, Taylor calling audibles at the line, looking to this near side receiver. It's all a ruse. It's a handoff up the middle to Jono, who gets hit at the line of scrimmage, manages to make 5. I think that's going to put us at around third and 3, third and 2.
Yeah, nice run on second down. That maybe it's a generous spot for the Alphas. Yeah, about 3 or 4 yards for the Rams to make on third down. A big third down. 7 points ahead.
I think a lot of teams here would maybe try and put the ball into an athlete's hands quick and let them get the 3 yards. I think with how the Rams have been playing so far, I would expect to see Elliot Jackson in the backfield get this ball.
Yeah, is that number 12, Elliot Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah, one of many Rams running backs. Had a good game today. Poor snap. Looks like he's
Looks
down.
like it was
Alex
the design.
Irving.
It will go down as an Alex Irving sack on a third and 3. It was looking to be a handoff to Elliot Jackson.
Another big break. I mean, the Rams really could have put this game to bed. They've shot themselves in the foot a few times, letting the Alphas off. I mean, you have big penalties, and that play right there. I mean, yeah, the Alphas now, it's 4th and 15. They're going to be punting away. Good field position. You've got, I believe that is Lightfoot in the backfield, taking the punt.
I can't quite see the number of the returner out there. It looks to be 81 against. I would assume that's Harry Lightfoot, the ex-rugby player. We're seeing the usual motion that we're seeing on Rams punts. Dan Haywood back to kick. Bit of an end-over-end, dodgy bounce. I would expect no one to return this.
A poison call. It's a good punt in the end.
So one thing I hate about britball is the poison calls. It just really goes through me that people don't know whether to go to the ball or not.
Yeah.
I think that's I've played for 10 years.
Maybe
it's kind of ingrained in my brain. If you're newer to the game, I understand it, but it can be frustrating seeing people meander around the ball, not knowing the impacts that could have on a potentially devastating play.
Yeah, I've seen it at club level and at the national level. I mean, at GB, you still have those poison calls and people making mistakes, trying to make a play on the ball. I remember in a Blue v White game, I came down with a completion on one of them. So someone tried to catch the ball, dropped it. You see it at every single level of the game, adults or not.
That quick screen again. Didn't quite see why that didn't work out. Was it an underthrow?
A slight bit of miscommunication. It looked like the offensive line went before the receivers. Maybe Lewis Truman slightly off guard.
Yeah, so unfortunately just missed on that pass there. So it looked to be that jailbreak screen again where the offensive line get out in front. You actually end up taking those plays in between the tackles, maybe after you catch and aim towards the posts, once you get that wave of offensive linemen coming out to block the secondary. But unfortunately just couldn't connect on the pass there and incomplete, so we're on 2nd and 10. Motion from the outside.
Looks like a jet sweep. Jay Smith.
Nowhere to go there. Met by a wave of Rams players.
Yeah, looked like a few missed blocks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it looks like 90 was the main culprit in on that defensive play.
Big number 90 is a very tall of a defensive line build.
Unfortunately, we don't have a name on the Rams website for number 90, so apologies.
Maybe it was your friend 60. Heavy blitz.
Heavy pressure look on his back foot.
Caught
Gets
by
the ball
Patterson.
out to Jack Patterson.
And
Jack Patterson will always keep chugging. I tell you what,
maybe a first down there.
That is a fantastic play from both Jack Patterson to reel that in and also Lewis Culver to get that out. I think it's a very underrated skill to deal with the pressure that you're going to get on these screen plays. I assume that was a designed screen because Jack Patterson was looking for that ball early. And it looked like it was a great play call from Nick Bagnall there. So called the screen perfectly into the blitz, which is exactly what you're trying to do with the screen, is negate that pressure. Okay, you're going to send that pressure at me through the middle. I'm just going to get the ball in space, out quickly, out to the side, past all of your rushing defenders. So then you've only got 4 people in front of the ball. First down.
Similar screen again.
Lewis Truman gets the sideline.
He
will not be caught.
Lewis Truman touchdown.
With a touchdown.
Alphas to level the game up with an extra point now.
So that puts us at 21-20 as it stands now with an extra point to follow. As a quarterback, you love that. A quick, easy pass out to a screen, get the ball into a playmaker's hands and just let them go do the work. And it's nice to see Lewis Culver bounce back. Obviously, the last time he tried to throw that pass was a little bit out of reach for Lewis Truman. Clearly, Nick Bagnall had complete faith in him coming back to the same play. I don't think that was the jailbreak screen that time. It looked more like a bubble to me. But the ball placement is still pretty similar on those 2 throws and just gets back to it. Really nice ball placement to get Lewis Truman in stride.
Maybe a extra man on the field there. You see Jack Patterson running away. But
yeah, it looks as though they were caught with 12 men on the field, which means we'll see the ball move back 5 yards. Lewis Truman looks tired.
Yeah, I mean, you see the screen to Lewis Truman. It's been thrown 6 or 7 times today with varying degrees of success. But in that situation, great blocking by Nat Wise on the outside, I think it was. And that block really has been the key point between that play going successful for a first down or being stuffed for 1 yard. You've seen Adam Waddle and then Nat Wise.
Bad snap.
Tricky snap.
Snap's a little bit short. Picked up by Tyler Broad, but the ball looked to be downed.
That may be.
So, the Rams are still in the lead in this game by 1 singular point. We did see an onside kick to start the game. It is the 4th quarter. But
it'd be a bold call. It didn't work, but
it was very close on the open play.
Based on, it'll be interesting to see whether the Rams stick to their kick return formation, because their kick return formation showed quite a lot of frailty on the outside.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring a few more people down towards that 10-15 yard mark, just in case. I'm not saying like a full onside kick commit, because the Alphas by no stretch have to go for an onside kick here. I think there's still plenty of time in the 4th quarter. And clearly, on that last drive, they were able to stop the Rams. So, looks like a miscommunication again, as we saw Will Swales come sprinting off the pitch.
Will Swales.
Looks like a kicker miscommunication there. So Dylan was the player that took the PAT, or attempted the PAT. Will Swales took the previous kick off, but now Dylan is back on kickoff. Kick is away, nice and high. Looks to be going to Elliot Jackson.
Yeah, well taken.
Starts the return at the middle, turns to his right, goes, breaks the first
Still
line,
going.
seems to be able to get to the sideline. Fantastic one-on-one tackle there. Not sure who that was. Getting up off the floor now.
Down well. Number 12.
Is that number 12?
Oh, as we just check the team sheet. Ash Scott returning, a former Alpha player, returning this season with a great tackle there.
Did he have a few years out, or did he play elsewhere the last couple of years?
I think he had a year or two out.
Yeah.
An Alphas player back in the maybe last played in 2023, but 1 year out, maybe 2022 though.
So Rams with the ball on the 35-yard line, give or take. By no means do the Rams have to try and put points up here. They have to take time off the clock. So you'd expect to see a very run-first offense. Still going, still
5
going.
yards, 4 or 5 yards maybe there. Good run on first down. It's a good
You've got to
game.
give it to the Rams. They are playing extremely physical football, but it does seem to be well matched in those trenches. It's not a blowout in there. The Alphas are winning some trench reps, and so are the Rams. It's a good battle, this game, and the score reflects that.
Yeah, you wonder whether that skewed extra point attempt will really come back to bite the Alphas. I'm sure it may. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, it's always tough to say at this point because you never know what's going to happen. We could see 3 more touchdowns by the end of this game, but not coming away with that is going to be a painful one. Run up the middle. Jono is met
Great,
immediately.
well stopped in the backfield.
Is that number 90 we've
Number
got
90, in there? I believe that to be, I want to say Jordan Carr. Not 100% certain though. Yeah, Jordan Carr returning to the team.
Returning player again.
Yeah, and after a few years out, definitely a few years out, great shoestring tackle, then brought down by a few more Alphas.
As we said early in the game, Jono is a notorious heavy runner of the football. You have to take him low, but one of the first things we spoke about at the start was him hurdling a player in the Romans game, which the photo for that has gone a bit viral across the BAFA photography pages. But I don't think he had the room to maybe try and get a hurdle off there. Jono off tackle to the right, lots of room to work. Almost untouched by the time he gets to the line of scrimmage. Brought down by number 2, Natty Peck. Not said his name in a while. I'm sure he's been making an impact in coverage.
Yeah, I mean, for a DB, sometimes it's best if their names aren't called.
It's a good thing if your names like Luke Truman, Malahan as well, being in there on the tackles.
Yeah.
You don't ideally want to be hearing Gaz Hughes and Natty making tackles, although they're very able and very capable.
Yeah, when called upon, it was a good tackle there. Obviously, 27 with a head of steam. I feel a lot of space, a vital block there from Natty
Once
Peck.
again, we don't have a timing facility here, so we have no idea how long's left in the fourth quarter. But if you're the Alphas here, there does come a point in this drive where you're going to have to try and get this ball back. Because I can't help but believe, as Jono runs off tackle to the left that time, ball comes out.
And the Alphas return.
And the Alphas look to have recovered. This fight for the ball will continue.
It's Dylan Pole with the football.
He was pretty much uncontested on that football, I will be honest. There was a guy draped on his back, but with no contact with the ball.
Looks like he was called down.
Ooh. I'm just going to rewatch the stream there, just to
take a replay.
Take a second look. Once again, apologies, we don't have the facility to get this replay to you. So there's a run off the tackle. He's met by Gaz Hughes and a D lineman. I think that's a fumble.
Yeah, look to me.
I think that should have been a fumble.
Yeah, it's maybe one you look to at the end of the game.
Another run, as you would
Great
expect,
tackle upfield.
Immediately by
Luke Truman. Maybe my defensive MVP of the game so far.
Luke Truman, I can't fault anything so far. There's not been a player where I've seen him out of position yet.
Yeah, his tackling has been superb, especially coming upfield.
I was speaking to him at halftime. He did say his job is made significantly easier by the D-line that he has in front of them. They're soaking up all the blocks by the offensive linemen, allowing him to just flow into the gap and get those one-on-one opportunities. So once again, football is a fantastic team game. Those linebackers can't perform without everyone else performing around them. 3rd and 8 here. Run again. Elliot Jackson cuts it up the middle. He's met by Gaz Hughes. I think that will put them at around a 4th and 3 opportunity. Now, this is interesting to see whether we are seeing the quarterback run off the field. Not sure if that's for a play call. He has run to Adam Lilly, who I can only assume in this scenario is the offensive coordinator. I know we were speaking about him earlier, moving from the Giants. So they are going to go for it here on 4th and 3. I would assume they run the ball again. They will take extra time off the clock in doing so.
Yeah, I think the Rams have... The Alphas will stop the Rams for 1 or 2 yards, but then they'll come back with 7 or 8. So there's a real... It's not that 3 or 4 yards. It's either a big run or stuffed...
Crowd in the box here from the Alphas. They're banking on that being a run.
Going for the offside. Hard count, timeout.
Yeah.
Didn't trust a play for 3 or 4 yards there, which is surprising, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's risk-reward. Is there any point in giving the Alphas the ball back around midfield versus trying to pin them maybe inside their own 10? So for our viewers that maybe don't know too much about American football, a hard count is when the quarterback is using his voice to simulate, okay, ready, set, go. But the entire offense is going to stand completely still in hopes that the defense jump offsides or jump across that line, which means they would get a free 5 yards. And in this scenario, based on where the ball is, they'd get a first down from it. So they came in, tried to do that. It's no risk because they just called a timeout once they realised it wasn't going to work. And now it looks as though they'll be punting the ball.
Yeah, tough punt for any punter to try and perform his job by pinning him to the...
Dan has punted for a while though, so I'd expect this to come out nice if we get a nice snap.
Well, it looks as if it's almost 3 receivers.
Does get the ball. He's looking to his right. Almost just a little...
Takes a great bounce.
Dink of a kick there.
Out
it
of
looks as though it's within the 10. It's within the 10.
It's a good punt.
It doesn't have to be flashy on those kicks. It's all about precision. It's not about it needs to go 50 yards out of bounds. The ball has to either be downed or be out of bounds. You're hoping in the 10. If you're punting from around the 40, you'd hope in the 10.
Yeah, so it's going to be a drive of around 93 yards needed for the Alphas. They've got that big play.
Only a field goal is needed, though. I know there was a little bit of a blunder on the last time they attempted a kick, but I would have complete faith in coming back to that unit to be able to make a game-winning field goal. So I believe, based on the distance that Dylan's been kicking the PATs through, I'd say they only need to get the ball to the 35 of the Rams to potentially give him a shot. I'm not saying that's 100% distance, but I think he'd be kicking that from around the
run.
And we are seeing a run. Jack Patterson with a little bit of space. Looks as though he was trying to square up the referee there.
It's a nice run on first down.
That's a great momentum play, and I love being in a 2nd and short in this scenario because
you've always got a free hit.
I assume we don't know how long's left in the game. If they get to 4th down, it's 4th down territory. So your second and 1 is an opportunity to take a shot because then you've got 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 to try and potentially get that first down. I don't know whether that's the way Nick Bagnall will play this. Looks like a draw.
Yeah.
Hey, it works.
It's a first down. You'd like to see
a nice draw play,
especially in this sort of setting. Maybe number 5, Elliot Knight, coming in. I haven't seen him play myself, but obviously
he has just put his helmet on the sideline. I don't know if he's been called in to maybe hit a go ball.
You'd like to think so. I mean,
I've heard great things about him. Obviously, I think we saw him on a punt return, but he didn't end up catching the ball. I'd love to see him with the ball in his hands. I've heard great things about the pre-season camp, pre-season in general. Apparently, he's an absolute speedster, so I'd love to see him out on the field now.
Yeah,
that's number 5.
When they need a big play, like this. Maybe he's the one that
Culver drops
wants to
back.
do it for him.
Good time. Rolls out to his right. Oh, just through the hands of Lewis Truman. I think that would have got them maybe into another 2nd and 2, but we remain on 2nd and 10, unfortunately. Great blocking from the O-line there. I know Lewis did have to roll out to his right towards the end there, but as a quarterback, I don't feel you can ask for much more time than he had there to be able to do that. Obviously, the Rams secondary seemed to have locked that up and forced him to extend that play even more. So it was a good defensive play from the Rams. Just unfortunate the Alphas weren't able to connect on that 6 or 7 yarder.
Going to be JJ Smith, Jamal.
Rolling out to his left, tough as a right-handed quarterback. It is caught. Is that Adam Woodall?
Woodall, yeah, with a catch.
Good to see him getting involved.
Yeah, gain of around 6 maybe on second
I think
down.
that'll put him at around a 3rd and 4, I think, from the angle we're at.
It's nice to see Adam Woodall getting his first catch of the season. Settle the nerves maybe after a bit of a drop. Although it was a tough catch earlier. Timeout?
Is that timeout by Alphas?
I believe so, yeah.
Timeout Alphas. So, with that, we haven't had a 2-minute warning.
No, not yet.
So we're not at a 2-minute warning. That's just the first timeout from the Alphas, I believe, of the half.
Yeah, that'll be the first one. I have 2 left. You'd like to think maybe 3 or 4 minutes?
I think we've probably got around 3. And just to note as well, the Rams did take a timeout when they came out for that hard count and tried to get the Alphas to jump offside. So if it does come down to the Rams having the ball last, they will have 2 timeouts from here. But I believe this is the first from the Alphas, meaning they have 2 remaining from here in the half.
I mean, it's a huge 3rd down. Like you mentioned earlier, potentially you'd go for the 4th down, especially if they stick it close.
I think if they're in a position now where they're calling timeouts for specific plays, knowing Nick Bagnall and the offensive mastermind he is, this is going to be a play that will get him the first down. I don't think this is going to be a fourth
play
down.
they're confident
If the play works, obviously there's a chance there's disruption and things, but I imagine they'll likely get it here. Truman over the middle. Oh,
Just missed.
just out of reach, just down too low for Lewis Truman to get down to. Lewis Truman came all the way across the formation for that. So,
I mean, you are right. That was a play that had 1, potentially 2 guys open for a first down.
yeah, so it looks as though the near side receiver that we had, I'm not sure who that was, might have been Harry Patterson, ran a hitch out here just to keep the cornerback low, stop him from getting back into that space that Lewis Truman was trying to get into behind. But Lewis Truman did outrun the guy that was covering him, was running into the space, but unfortunately we just missed on that one. I keep saying we. I'm not playing. Okay, here we go. Big situation here. 4th and 5, 4th and 4. Trips out to the right. We're looking for...
Huge catch.
That is caught. Is it a first down? The referee far side is stood past the marker. You would assume first. Is that a catch by Jamal as well, by the way?
No, I think it was Tom Noon. I believe that was Tom Noon.
That was Tom Noon.
With a tight end stick.
It was. It was a hitch by Tom Noon. Jamal was lined up outside.
First down Alphas.
What a play. Always going to be tough in those scenarios. You'd love to be in the NFL, be in college football and be able to review the tape and get the chains out and measure. But the referees have given this. It's first down.
The gutsy call. Basically the whole Alphas game in the hands of
I think it had
Tom
to
Noon.
be done, though. It had to be done. If you give this Rams offense the ball back, they're going to run the clock out. They might not score points. They might not get a field goal. The time will be gone by the time the Alphas were even close to getting the ball back. So I think it had to be done in terms of going for it.
Well, great hands.
I love the
Tom
trust
Noon
in Culver to get the ball there as well. Run off to the left. Is that Jack Patterson?
Yeah, 4 yards.
Falling forward, falling for 4. Hit out the line of scrimmage and just dives. Players on the Rams sideline are signalling that the clock is still rolling, so I'd assume the Alphas are looking to go a little bit of tempo here, go a little bit faster. Yep, we're getting signals from Lewis Culver here on the left side of your screen, trying to get people to the line, get people lined up in the correct way to run this next play. Now, in my experience with this hurry-up offense, you go back to the plays that work, you go back to the plays that you've executed, but it looks like they're in a full 5-wide set here. No running backs in the formation. Rolling out to his right, nobody there. Throw the ball away, live to fight another day. I'm not mad at that at all. Good decision by Lewis Colvert. There is no need in this scenario on second down to force anything. If it's there, take it. If not, move on.
Yeah, look like a JJ Smith blocking downfield. I do see Elliot Knight walking into the field there, number 5. Obviously a number that's quite close to my heart. Flag down on the play.
So you're seeing there Elliot shaking hands with Lewis Truman as they're on their way in. Obviously, I assume they met at the RAF, and obviously that's potentially the reason why Elliot decided to come here. Is
2 of 3 RAF players playing for the now.
So, like I say, we've heard great things about him in terms of his speed and his hands, but he is still raw as a player.
Looks like it was a holding 10 yards. I mean, it's
put them in a little bit of a hole
downs.
here. You almost have to, in my opinion, get 10 yards on this player. You've got to make 3rd and 4th down attainable.
Looks like it's Elliot Knight wide out on the left-hand side.
They are looking his way.
It's dropped Lewis Truman.
Behind Lewis Truman.
Behind, maybe not a drop. And it's 3rd down. Here, do you look for it all? Or do you go maybe halfway, 8 or 9 yards, and then try
I think if I was the offensive coordinator and I could draw up an ideal play here, I would be drawing up a couple of routes that are home run balls, but I'm not throwing them. Just to take those safeties away, to get the cornerbacks to run deep, to maybe hit a Lewis Truman, an Adam Woodall, or a Thomas Noon for 15 yards. Take the 15 and get to 4th and 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got a speedster out there, which I'm hearing we do, the go ball might be there, but that's not a must hit.
That's exactly what the defense are looking for.
It's not a must hit by any stretch.
Going deep.
Thomas Noon.
I thought he came down with
jump ball scenario.
It's a great play by the DB. A potential game-winning play.
Rams extremely excited by that play. They saw the potential mismatch that the Alphas were actually trying to take advantage of, which I assume to be the height mismatch. They got Thomas Noon past the 1st down marker. Big tight end, throw it up to him, but unfortunately wasn't able to come down with that jump ball against the DB out there.
Yeah, maybe a missed opportunity. That was very close to something coming down with
Also, that's a really tough throw, just looking back at the replay here from Lewis Culver. He's rolling out to his right for maybe 3 or 4 steps as if showing sprint out, throwing back across his body to the left sideline is a really tough throw. That's actually impressive that he managed to get the ball there.
I believe we're still yet to see the 2-minute warning, so maybe the Alphas...
Is this it?
Delay of game.
I think they're calling that's a timeout.
Is timeout?
Yeah, they're signaling timeout Alphas. Once again, I don't believe we've seen the 2-minute timeout. If we have, apologies for us missing that.
Alex Robson saying there the 2-minute warning was 3 plays ago.
Apologies.
Maybe Alex, that was one of the...
He's got his head coach brain on all the way in Turkey. Yeah. Thank you for the update. Apologies for us missing that. So we are past it. I believe that was the 2nd timeout from the Alphas.
Yeah, I believe you see the offense come out here to do or die play.
Yeah, so we're past the 2-minute warning. We've ran a couple of plays. 4th down and 20. You have to take it all here.
I mean, the Rams playing deep coverage, but also putting a bit of pressure on, it seems.
And we're seeing the sprint out again.
Right.
Sets feet, throws up.
Goes deep.
Nobody in the area.
No one home.
Unfortunately.
And from a Rams stance, there.
That looks like there's going to be a flag. I would assume it would be on the Rams defense for a lot of celebrating aimed at the Alphas sideline. Not sure if that is the call, but it's being pointed at right now.
Could that affect?
I don't think it affects the play because it's after the play. The play would still stand. It will affect the following placement of the ball, I believe. If it's unsportsmanlike, I believe a 15 yards. But if I'm the Rams in this scenario, I'm not at all bothered about where that ball is.
Yeah. Yeah, unsportsmanlike conduct.
So we will see the Rams offense come back out for what you can only assume to be the final few plays of the game.
Yeah, it's going to be runs up the middle. I mean, from Alpha's defensive point of view, you're looking to get the ball out, essentially.
I'm not sure if we're in kneeling of the ball territory. Obviously, Alphas now only have one timeout left, only one opportunity to stop the clock and potentially get the ball back. So I don't know whether the Rams are in kneel territory here. We'll obviously see from their first offensive play whether that looks to be the case. I would assume they are going to kneel, seeing the formation they're in with a running back behind the quarterback that we haven't seen yet this game.
Looks like potentially
so
victory
I would assume
formation.
he's just there as a safety buffer. We would expect to see a kneel here and that to close out the game. So as you mentioned earlier, Jay, unfortunately it does come down to that missed PAT earlier in the game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's other moments in the game which may have swayed it other ways.
Of course. You can't put everything down to one particular play in the game. And
that one does stand out as a real
it's
clear
unfortunate
opportunity.
Because that is the one that would have got you a point. So it's easy to point the blame at that, but there are opportunities that are for both teams to have made more plays, to have resulted in more points throughout the game. And it looks as though following maybe one or two more successful kneels from the Rams quarterback Taylor Umland, we would expect to see the end of the game here. So obviously this game finishing as a 21-20 win for the Yorkshire Rams here at Quibell Park. That will put the Alphas at 0-1 on the year so far, and the Rams move to 2-0 following a win last week against the Chester Romans where they won 27-0.
Yeah, I mean, from an Alpha's point of view, it's a disappointing loss. Yorkshire Rams clearly a very good side, so they can hang their hat on that. Obviously, they'll be looking for revenge at the John Charles Stadium later in the year. But from an Alpha standpoint, disappointing. From a Rams standpoint, an incredible win. Gritty, played well on defense.
Yeah, any hard-fought game like this is always fun to be a part of when you're in it, but it's always heartbreaking for 50% of the people that are involved. So unfortunately the Alphas come out on the losing side of today, but there are a lot of positives to take away from this, especially with a lot of the moving parts that they had this off-season. New head coach moving in, a lot of new players, a lot of rookies, a lot of transfers. I think there's a lot of potential in this Alphas team on offense, defense and special teams where they will bounce back and they will continue to have a successful year.